What is up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I'm Brea Thorne. Happy to have you here. How the heck are we doing? Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Here's the thing. I'll usually on YouTube, I'll have when I'm gonna start. Like it'll say starting in 30 minutes, or I can put a time. Twitch, not really. It's just I go live whenever I go live. But if you're ever curious, you'd like to watch on Twitch, but you're curious if, like, hey, he hasn't started, it's 8 o'clock. If it says 8, if it's, I might start at 8:15, 8:30, something like that. That's why I've always said starting around 8 o'clock. I'm not terribly punctual, which is perfectly in line with being a streamer from what I understand. So yeah, no one's ever disagreed with me anyway on that one. But what's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well on this Thursday, the 19th of June. Holy crap. And there goes Q2. I'm going to say hi to some people now. First off, the ones that you can see right there. It's going to be Lycos45. What's going on? Alucard, Markov, you did not miss anything. How are you doing? Bone Shot, good evening to you as well. John Paul Bacon over on YouTube, how you doing? Sailor X, what's going on? Alice, happy to see you. Robert Fixit, what's up, buddy? How's it going? Anton, thank you for encouraging others to like the stream. Never a bad thing. Not that's good vibes right there. I like that. I like that you say hello to my microphone, Robert. That's cool. Some interesting stuff happened recently. So you guys, I've told y'all why I don't show YouTube chat here. And it's all because of Twitch. Twitch in 2023, late 2023, at TwitchCon, they announced that because before, if you were a partner, you could not multi-stream. I would have to do YouTube streams separate from Twitch streams. I mean, that's back when they were insecure. They're still insecure, but they were also insecure then. But anyways, they finally started allowing multi-streaming on multiple platforms at the same time because, obviously. Oh, snap! We got a raid already. We're gonna talk about this in a second, but Great One 718 coming in with a raid of 8. Thank you for the raid. Let's go, nerds. All right, let's do a shout out and everyone who's in chat. So we just started, so good timing on that. Little shout out there. Let's see what you were doing. You're playing Lego and brick building. That's awesome. What were you building? Please tell us of your build. And thank you for the raid. Thank you for trusting me with your community. Great One 718, welcome in, of course. WWE Christina, welcome. And Monarch Manifested, welcome. Tebow 904, welcome. And building the Millennium Falcon. I have the smaller version of that. I got the small one. The giant one, it's awesome. I wish, actually. But yeah, that is super cool. Michelle Melton on YouTube, welcome. How's it going? Happy to have you here. Regular Guy 68 asks, do you have any good monitor recommendations? Yes, it's the Pixio. Of course, if you're going to ask that, you should always ask for a resolution. Are you looking for a really high refresh rate 1080p, sort of a medium, sort of 1440p? Are you looking for 4K OLED? Because I can just go on. I could just start, and also a budget. So I could just go out and say, hey, you know what? Get the Odyssey Neo G9 from LG, and then you have a $1,500 recommendation. There you go. Imperfecta sent us here, fellow PC builder myself. For fun now, no longer my field of choice. Gaming industry is a bit more fun. This is fun. Quotes was a response from Monarch there. Got to keep current happenings in mind. Oh, I've talked all about that here. So what I do here, you may be curious. I'm also a longtime PC builder, but my YouTube channel is where I got traction at first, and that was because I was covering other stuff, but during the shortages during the pandemic and crypto boom and all that, I started covering pre-builds because they were the best way to get a GPU, and it was the only way to get a GPU at the time. So I started covering that, and then I realized that, oh, like 75% of people buy pre-built. 99% of PC content on YouTube is DIY. The math ain't mathing. So I went on a quest to start providing help to those who actually really, really needed it. Because if you're getting a pre-built, you're probably completely new to all this, and you need help a little bit more than a DIY enthusiast. Even a budding DIY enthusiast will know more than the first-time pre-built buyer, usually, because they've been watching videos already. They kind of have a little idea of what's going on and how PC stuff goes. So that's what I do. I cover pre-builts. Now, on these streams, on these what is called PC matchmaking streams, or what I call it, it's kind of the only place that this is done. I don't see anybody else doing this yet. But if you're in the market for a pre-built PC, or you want to do your first PC build and you want a parts list for DIY, you can fill out a Google form that asks you a bunch of questions you should be asking yourself anyway. That provides me, remember with the request for a monitor recommendation earlier from Regular Guy 68, I started having to ask a bunch of questions. And that's the thing. If you want help on something, if you want to get good answers, you have to ask good questions. So you fill out that form. It gets you in line to get one-on-one help, absolutely free. I've been doing this for years now, and it's pretty fun. That's what I do. Zeph, what's going on? Got my PC parts today, waiting for case and fans coming tomorrow. That is hype. That's awesome. Congrats. Baldur's Gate 3 Saturday night. Oh, you're already planning it out. Joseph 04Z, hello boss, just got my PC that I ordered. MK Mark II from Starforge. Hell yeah, Starforge is great. That is awesome. Monarch Manifested says, my first PC became what I call my Franken PC. That is why pre-builts are the best gateway to PC DIY. It's how I started a depressingly long time ago, but you know, I've been building PCs for 25 years since starting to mess with the family pre-built. And guess who else, by the way? I've interviewed these guys. Jay's 2 Cents, Paul's Hardware, Pedro, the founder of PCMR. I have interviews with them where they say, I started with a pre-built. Pre-builts are fine. I don't, you know, but their communities think they don't think that. Go figure. Anyway, so that's what I do. Do you think I made a good purchase? Well, Joseph, without knowing what you're going to use it for, what your budget was, how it fits into that, it's hard for me to say. But I'll tell you this. I'm more helpful before you make your purchase. I will say, if you used code Breathorn, if I helped introduce you to them or something like that through my videos on YouTube and use code Breathorn, that makes the purchase a little better, I would say. But they don't give you a discount. It just helps, just supports the channel. Unfortunately, that's something Starforge doesn't do. They don't do actual coupon codes, just like referral codes. But it morphed over time. It reached a point where the power supply didn't even sit in the case. A little too big or what? What's up, Dodger Dog? How's it going? Yo, Robert Fixit, welcome back to the Swarmies. Thanks for renewing that. I appreciate it. The YouTube membership. Thank you very much. Steve, hey, I'll just pop it in a little late over here. Have a super duper one. I wasn't that late, Steve. I was like 30 minutes late. Apocalyptic has the RG Swift. Depending on which version. I mean, they're all pretty good, yeah. I have the giant one. Wish I would have kept the Jabba the Hutt play set. That would have been sick. iBuyPower has incredible cable management. They do. I mean, they've developed that over many, 25 years. Plenty of DIY users also started pre-built and upgraded over time, says Alucard Markov, and I agree. I have photos of that monstrosity somewhere. That would actually be kind of cool. You should. We have a rigs channel in the Discord. Share that. Oh, there's also a DIY channel, which can be a little confusing. Rigs are for kind of your whole setup and your PC. Like for a lot of people who get their first pre-built, they want to share what it looks like and what their setup looks like once they set it up. But you can also do things like that, and then show your current setup. Kind of do a a before and after, a glow up, if you will. What are top 3 apps you install right away after building a PC? Dodger Dog, generally, it's going to be. I'm still stuck on Google Chrome, so I'll do that. Steam, and then probably Hardware Info 64 just to make sure everything's looking good, temps are good. That's my usual 3 go-to. Wait, did I say the same 3 thing? Wait, no, hold on. Steam, Chrome, and Hardware Info 64. And where you go to get this done easy is Nite. You can get a couple of those off of Night with a single install package where any extra stuff is it's super easy. Night.com is awesome. More like power supply upgraded to didn't have a long enough cable. Oh, okay, that's weird. I just bought the iBuyPower Slate 8 pre-built. Is that a good first PC? Regular guy 68. If you're going for, I mean, I don't know what the specs are. Like, I don't have that memorized. Plus, I think they have a couple of different spec versions of the Slate 8. So I don't know. I don't know what your original budget was, what you planned to use your PC for. But I can say that I usually recommend buying directly from iBuyPower. If you did that, I think you're a little better off than buying from Best Buy. But it's not like it's a sin to buy from Best Buy, especially if like you have a line of credit there, stuff like that. Anyways, wow, I was really off to the races with the beginning of this stream. What's up, Onware? How's it going? How are you doing, bud? How's everything over there? Are y'all staying safe? I hope so. Fun fact, I had 0 cooling issues. Dust was a different story, but hey, trade-offs, am I right? Fair. Question for everyone here. Does anyone know about maximizing PC? Saw someone with 1,000 FPS on live selling optimizing services. Yeah, don't go for that, Zeph. Yeah. Don't go for that. Don't fall for that stuff. The optimization stuff is, I don't go for that. All you have to do is make sure to get an application to clean out your files. I used to like CCleaner for that, but it got a little scummy after a while. It still performs the functions, but it's always trying to bother you to give them money. It's a free application otherwise. Yeah. Is hardware info that thing you see up in the left corner when people are doing benchmark videos? Nope. But usually what you're seeing is MSI Afterburner and RivaTuner. That is what comes with it. And RivaTuner statistics server, that you can adjust what you can have the on-screen display, the OSD, and adjust how it shows up, what size it is, what information shows there. Yeah, and you can toggle it on and off. Doing pretty good. We're safe. That's awesome to hear. Okay. I think I'll always look back on my Franken PC with a mixture of horror and nostalgia. Listen, nobody starts out, building like Roby or Zach or any of those guys, or Jay or Kyle or Paul. Like all of those guys started out messing around and making a mess. Like that's how that goes. VRLA Robert says VRLA Tech wins the cable management award until proven otherwise. I mean you can go through all the look. I will say this. I was really impressed with Starforge. I was impressed with oh man, Paradox. Paradox was nuts with it. They were great. Zeph wants to hydrate very early on. Sure thing. Practice makes perfect in terms of building or any other skill. Accurate. The latest Windows update, says Sailor, has foobarred Real Player for downloading videos. I guess I haven't really used that, so I wouldn't have any context for it. Have a wonderful stream, Christine. Thank you for the lurk. Thank you very much for the lurk. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who followed, much appreciated. I really appreciate the follows. Tbo904 and Great1718. Again, thank you for the lurk. By the way, Great One, if you need to go and get off, you just finished streaming, go and get your streaming self-care done afterwards. Go grab a snack, get a screen break, a break away from the key light, and go chill. I just started. Anyone who sticks around here from your stream, I will take care of them. That sounds a little weird to say. We'll chill. We're chilling. I know it built PC pretty nicely when it got to its worst, which adds a whole nother level of WTF. It was bad when only share pics of it in a tech horror or similar channel. I guess I don't have that in the Discord. That's a thought for sure. What's up, Skeeter Gaming? How's it going? Welcome. Only thing I didn't like about my iBuyPower purchase is they didn't give me my King 95 Pro mesh front panel. I'll tell you something apocalyptic. They should have sent that to you. However, I find that the mesh front panel is not very useful. First off, they have this thing where there are basically there's the bracket where your side fans are, and the front side, the right side fans, and if you just swivel that to the front and put the mesh panel on, you're going to be exhausting air out of the front. They're reverse flow fans. You basically have to take those reverse flow fans, take them off that bracket, put them on the built-in bracket that's behind the pivoting one, and get more fans for the front. Now, the thing is, when you have front intake and side intake right next to each other, you're introducing turbulence. I would say I generally would. I have a King 95 right here, and I would not generally use that front mesh panel unless I take off the side intake panels. But then you have this opening there that's going to be messing up your static pressure or your positive pressure setup inside the case. So without something to cover that, which I guess you could just get like some kind, I don't know, just like a piece of plastic and cover it. As long as it's white and it matches it, I guess you could do that. That's actually something I told Height with the X50. They have front intake fan. I don't know if it actually, I don't remember if it comes with fans. But they have front intake and side intake, and they just leave the side intake open. And I'm like, this is supposed to be high performance. You should include a blank right there, a blank plate. That's pretty low cost. It's a piece of plastic or metal with some screw holes, and then that's supposed to, you know, mount where the fan mounts are. Just put that in there, and it's going to help with, you know, keeping that case airflow path solid. That's the thing, guys. They actually have a version of that case. It's cheaper, of the X50 with a side and top mesh. That's a single piece. I don't actually recommend that. I think it's better to go with the $149.99 version that has the curved glass. Not only is it beautiful, it also is not always a good idea to just have mesh everywhere, especially if that mesh is not accompanied with fans of some kind directing the air through it, you know, in it or out of it. Airflow is not just about having ventilation. Your airflow should have, I mean, the optimal airflow is actually going to have a path, and you plan that out, and all that stuff. If you move the case slightly too much, a very specific unused cable would slip into a cooling fan at one point. Zip ties. Even twisty ties from that loaf of bread that you finished. Anything. Keep that thing tied up somewhere. Still waiting for Jeff to let me buy my King 95 RGB fan cover. Hey, he said he could send me the STL file. I didn't, I actually got to hang out with him at Computex, and he said he'd send me that, and I haven't followed up with him. That's on me. I need to do that. Let's see. Frowler, what's up? Cannot wait for the Arctic extender case to come out. I've heard whisperings of that. I haven't really checked that out in depth at all, but I need to. RGB fan covers God tier. Robert, yeah, I did send one of my spare ones to Robert. I only have a black one left now. So yeah, I want to get a 3D printer that's capable of doing that multicolor printing at some point. I just don't have that. Tried zip ties and twisty ties. It found a way. Reroute it somewhere, I guess. I mean, you are the boss of the cables. The cables are not the boss of you, Monarch. You are the Monarch, right? If by royal decree, cable, knock it off. That's what you say, verbatim. So yeah, we're gonna get started here in just a bit. I'm gonna take. I mean, if I have any submissions so far, I don't know that I do. Let me go look. Go open up the spreadsheet, and we'll take a look. Now, for those of you who want to get help, if you're watching on Twitch, you're going to find a link keeps popping up from Stream Elements, and it says, what does it say exactly? It says, want help getting the right PC for your budget needs? Fill out this form. And there's a link at the end of that paragraph. Oh, it just popped up now. There you go. Click that, fill out the form to get in line to get help. We do go in order of whoever. We don't have anybody yet. So unless somebody who filled out the form previously wants to speak up and let me know they're here. If you're watching on YouTube, it's easy. Go to the description of the stream. It's the link that's at the very top of the description. And then you click that, fill it out, and then you're in line. Generally, one thing I don't mention often enough, but it does mention it in the form. If you're not within a month of making your purchase, whether it's a parts list or a pre-built, you should wait until you're within a month of making your purchase. If you try to fill out the form anyway and you answer it honestly, it's going to take you to the end of the form right after you answer that question. So yeah. And Skeeter, that's right. Skeeter has gotten ahead of me a little bit. What's up, Rye Guy? How's it going? I don't know if I already said hi, but hi. So if you want to get on the list, or if you are on the list already and you're wanting to let me know, there's a proper way to do it on YouTube and on Twitch. On YouTube, just type out @Brayathorn, I'm on the list. YouTube doesn't allow me to give custom emotes for free. You have to have the membership, and I'm not trying to push you to do that just to get my attention. But if you type @Brayathorn, I'm on the list, that tagging me there will highlight that whole that chat for me. It'll highlight my name. You have to spell it correctly, though. Now, over on Twitch, all you have to do, if you're already on the list and you're waiting for help, if you follow the channel, which is free, if you like PCs, follow the channel, by the way. It's simple as that, because that's what I do, a lot of that PC stuff. But anyway, I also do unboxings, PC builds, streams, giveaways, things like that. I haven't done one in a while, but there are some on the way here right now. Not saying there's a giveaway, but that is still out there, and those are complicated anyway. So, but no, all you have to do is open up the emotes, look for my emotes. You'll find a free one there that says I'm on the list. Drop that in chat. It's really easy for me to spot. I'll know you're on the list. Monarch, thank you for the lurk. Feel free to hang out. We're chatting about PCs. You get to hear my methodology for helping people. It's pretty cool. And Fowler, tell me how you're doing. How are you? So we don't have anybody yet who has newly filled out the form. We have a ton of people who filled it out before, and I just need to see if they're here, and maybe I can help them out. What's up, Arutu? Welcome. Hi, Squared, right back at you. I feel like I'm coming off a little hyperactive this time around, and I'm sorry about that. Let's snooze that for 5 minutes. Sorry, chat. The Twitch is already trying to drop an ad. I can't snooze it for very long. Zintech accidentally ripped off a cable by accident. I mean, the 2 terabyte SSD is fine, but I feel like I need to buy a new PSU and replace it. There hasn't been any sparks yet. Knock on wood. Oh, that's scary. Okay, so you ripped out a cable on the PSU side. Did the connector come out? That's very, very hard to do. Like, you must have gotten a running start or something. How did you do that? Yeah, no, don't use that PSU. Do not have it plugged into the wall. Do not turn it on. You just get that thing out. You might be able to RMA it for repair, but yeah. Super T, you're not late. You arrived precisely when you meant to. It's totally fine. Welcome to the stream. I just started a bit ago. How you doing? It's all good. Relaxing on the couch, and your stream is on the big TV. Uh-oh. Oh, wrong button. Hello. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Good job, me. Good job. Well done. Yes, thank you. I'm such good streamer. It was an accident. I'll be more. Of course, it was an accident. None of us really actually believe you did it on purpose. Monarch, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. I don't really have something that gives me that information on YouTube. Do I? Viewer activity. I guess I have that. I want to keep both of those open. I've actually been strongly considering starting to use Opera as my browser for a very specific reason. It has a thing where you can very easily have it sort of a 2-window thing, 2 tabs next to each other. It's supposed to be easy. And I will often compare things like motherboard I/O, stuff like that. And it's always a headache with Chrome. I wonder if there's a plugin for that, but I don't know. I did buy a new PSU from Newegg. I did see that you said that. Edge does that? I'm good. Edge is way too passive aggressive for me whenever I want to try to install Chrome. It's so annoying. And it's toxic. It's toxic behavior, Edge. You need to knock it off. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Obviously, if we don't have someone who has filled out the form, I already told y'all last stream there's something we're going to be doing, and we're going to be doing that here shortly. Alexander PCs has finished revamping, I think, all of the builds on their site, and we're gonna go check out how they spec'd them out, how they did it. I want to see what they did. There's been plenty of new stuff after Computech. You got the 9060 XT as an option, and that thing's pretty solid. So I want to see if they went with that for some of their budget builds, things like that. Careful about mentioning blank. It could cause a timeout from the stream. Could it really, though? I don't think so, Robert, because you see, you're talking about YouTube. Edge is a competitor, quote unquote, to YouTube, because YouTube is owned by Google. Well, I guess by Alphabet, but I don't think they would mind. Oh, that's why I guess they would time it out, because I'm mentioning a competitor, but I'm speaking negatively about them. So I don't know. What's your opinion for the Intel Core Ultra 7 for productivity? Unreal Farmer, first off, hi, greetings. Welcome to the stream. Hello. That's how I usually start conversations. But anyway, instead, demanding information. That's cool. Don't worry. A lot of people do that. Their first time coming through. But it's probably my favorite CPU out there right now, especially at its way reduced price. People out there spending nearly $500 on a quote unquote gaming 8-core CPU in 2025. That's pretty annoying, because a lot of them, if they have that kind of budget, aren't aiming for 1080p, where it doesn't matter. The 265K is goated. 265K is awesome. It gets almost the same performance as a 9800X3D once you get out of 1080p benchmarks. Imperfecta, what's up? That they did. I recently got their Lambo Astral 5090 build. Who are we talking about? That they did. Oh, Alexander PCs. Okay. Got it. Hi, what's up? How's the Corsair RM850? Zintech, I will direct you to this. There you go. You'll need that because you might not like that one, and this way you have a resource that's going to be way better than me when it comes to just... I'm not a PSU tester. This is what I refer to, so now you're skipping the middleman. Is it bad I use Firefox? Right, guy? No, Firefox is awesome. It's fine. I hope that they keep things running over there, because I know they've been facing some difficulties. But Imperfecta, congrats on the Lambo Astral build. I know that a 5090 build is going to cost you a pretty penny, and a $50 discount off of that ain't going to be a lot. But guess what? It's still something. So I hope you got to use code Brayathorn for that. It helps save you $50 and supports what I do. I'm thinking about picking up 26,000 of what? Alucard, 26,000 what? Dollars? That'd be awesome. Send me some. I know you meant the 265K. I got you. That's okay. But yeah, for productivity, the 265K is awesome. And Unreal Farmer, I'll tell you what. I mean, the 295K is like $570, and you're under $300 for a 265K. It's like 270, 280. And it's just missing 4 efficiency cores. It scores nearly this. It's right there, just underneath the number 1, which is a 285K in Adobe Premiere Pro. It's crazy. Braithorn used my first responder discount. Well, actually, I believe you would get a $100 off discount if you do that, which is why I've told you guys about that before. How if you're a first responder, what is it? Law enforcement, active duty, military, or a veteran, you can get $100 off instead. Brave and Opera are the go-tos I use. Alucard, you use 2 browsers? Commitment problems, maybe? Let's pick one. I love Edge. It's amazingly good to use for installing Chrome. Prowler. See, what I did is I just downloaded the Chrome installer, and I just run that locally. Well, not local. Obviously, it has to have internet connection, but just put it on a flash. Well, I mean, I install stuff on a lot of PCs whenever I'm doing builds. Not a lot, I guess, compared to like Roby, but you know. I have no idea. Imperfecto's build was ridiculous expensive, says Tebow. He told Great all about it. Nice. Use my first... Yeah, so I'm glad you used that discount, though. I mean, hey, that's... Well, I mean, I was going to say that covers most of shipping, but shipping is free there, so... Or it's included, rather. But no, Unreal Farmer, if you hang out a lot, you're going to hear me recommending the 265K all over the place right now. I'm really interested to see how the 365K turns out, especially because they've already boosted gaming performance in Core Ultra 200S as an optional thing. But yeah, V for V, welcome late arrivers. Are you telling me to do that? Well, welcome V for V. I mean, I didn't see you earlier, so... But yeah, so Unreal Farmer, 100% thumbs up on that thing. Like, if I were building a like a video editing PC right now, I might not even though I'm a full-time content creator, I might still just go for the 265K. It's going to run cooler, have better power draw, and have nearly the same performance in video editing as a 285K. Why wouldn't I? I use two browsers. One is more for my work and research accounts, Brave, and the other is for just screwing around Opera. Fair, that's fair, actually. I should probably consider doing that. Okay, V for V, let's tone that down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete that message. All right, I don't really like talk about gleeful use of illegal substances on my streams. I believe I've mentioned that to you before. When I got my PC, I couldn't find your code, but I did find one that took $250 off my purchase. Where was that, Apocalyptic? Oh, was that iBuyPower? Right. Well, that's fine. I don't know if I helped you with the build. I hope I did. But that's okay. Hear something about MSI Afterburner causing something to die or catch fire. Know anything about it? Apocalyptic, I haven't heard anything about that. Check the Discord for affiliate codes. Yeah, pretty much there's a coupon code channel in the Discord, Apocalyptic, and you can always find them there. And I do try to keep that up to date as much as I can. It used to be Cuddles that did that, but Cuddles has had to step away from editing and also from some of his activities in the community for that. For personal reasons, totally fine, but yeah. Oh, but this is why, and this is actually one of the reasons. I've never been like, secretive or embarrassed about the fact that when you guys use my coupon codes, in most cases, it will support what I do and it helps out. And it's the reason that I get all weird whenever people do donos or huge sub gifts or things like that. It's because I don't charge you directly, and I would rather have that support come from making the right connection for a buyer and for the company they're buying it from. It has kept things going here. There's been lean times, like truly lean times, but it's been enough to keep me doing this. It's a saying where I come from. It means I love life and... Okay, gonna go ahead and remove that one too. All right, that's gonna be a second warning, V for V. It's gonna be a timeout, and if you do bring that stuff up again, I don't want to ban you, okay? Not wanting to is one thing, but like, you live your life, do your thing, don't hurt anybody, and don't be kind to everybody. I'm not gonna judge people, but that's I don't want to hear about that in my chats. Okay, what's up, Hayden? How's it going? Lit was the first of the month. Your code hasn't updated yet, sadly. It should be 5. Should be Bray 5. I need to check that basically. Yep, Brave 5% off systems over 999. Yeah, 5% off. Brave 5. There you go. What was the total price of your system, if you don't mind me asking? Electrothermal, welcome. What's up? Tomorrow is Friday. It is indeed. Yeah, you got that right. I feel like I was talking about something earlier and I can't remember what it was. Oh well. Oh, Alucard, let me tell you something about what's going on right. An interesting message I got earlier. Okay, hold on, let me see. One second. That would have been $275 off. Apocalyptic. There you go. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be less of a discount than you got. Instead, it would have been a bigger discount. Nothing crazy though. No huge difference there. Okay. And yes, that is the code that I do have listed currently in the coupon codes channel. Now, if it was a ready to ship system and not a custom system, then that's a lower discount, like by a lot. It's like a $50 discount. No, it's not confidential. At least I wasn't told it was confidential. Currently, so you do tend to like the stuff that Starforge comes out with on their licensed custom cases, right? Well, so I was I've been rewatching, you know, while I've been working and doing other stuff. I've been going through like probably my 10th rewatch of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. And it's funny because you actually quoted it when we rated Manly on Tuesday, but it was also, I watched Mother's Basement. I watched Jeff's review or his list of the top 10 anime of all time, and of course Gurren Lagann was on there. So I was like, I need to it's time for a rewatch. It's been like a year and a half or something. I need to rewatch this. And so I just thought to myself, I was like, I'm gonna reach out to Nick at Starforge and be like, hey, one of your next ones, y'all need to see if you can reach out and see about getting Gurren Lagann. I think Aniplex. He said it might be Konami anyway. You seen Kaiju number 8? I have not seen Kaiju number 8 yet. And what he said was anything we sign for that now probably wouldn't come out until 2027 because they have 16 future releases to get through first. 16! Holy crap. Yeah, 16 other properties to make cases for and release and launch and all that stuff. Their collabs are going off. Like, they're insane. And I thought to myself immediately upon reading that, I'm like, Alucard would like to know this. So I was going to see if you were on stream tonight. Hopefully they're not just with Lee and Lee cases. That's not up to them. That's actually up to Gallery Panda. Gallery Panda has to do all of their, well, quote unquote, tooling or whatever to get it to where they can UV print on a case. It's a lot of work. Every design has to be custom made for that specific case. Certain cases that have come out with things like curved parts of it and stuff like that can't usually be UV printed. Really, the 011D Evo RGB, the 011 Evo RGB is the perfect case for them. Dang, I would have just rather supported you as all. It's okay, Apocalyptic. It's fine. It's no big deal. It's just I have to keep that stuff. I have to make sure to myself that it's working and that it's the current code that's listed in the Discord. Where, you know, like what? 10 days or so from it changing yet again. I'm not a fan of how they're doing that, but they're doing it. It's going to be up to like Bray 38 or something at some point, I guess, but that's just how it's going to go. I just don't want to have so many lean lead cases in my home as well as height cases. I guess got to be picky because they're going to be coming out with a lot of stuff. I don't know. I just feel like Gurren Lagann, it is completely unique in its visual style, in its aesthetic. It's just, it was such a, it was just a trend setting. I mean, watch that, and of course, then watch like Kill la Kill, stuff like that. It just absolutely was so like, so definitive. Just amazing stuff. And I don't know. I mean, look, all right. Notice anything about that emote? When Ari was going to be drawing emotes, I was like, can I get one with the Kamina glasses? Just saying, what's up? It would be sick. What's up, Zeno? How's it going? Welcome. Improve my room so it's more ready for my setup. Nice. That's a lot of work. But yeah, what I told Nick after he said they have 16 licensed properties to get through first on designing and launching case collabs, I was like, you know what? That's fine. We already got enough upcoming collab work to do as it is, like me and Starforge and I should say. So we've already got pre-built, rebuilt to do, which I am installing something that is going to be super freaking cool, by the way. That's going to help me with that. I'll talk about that after. But also another upcoming project that might be a pretty huge one that I'm really excited about. We'll see how that goes. If some other classic anime titles like Big O, Outlaw Star Gundam, and other classics popular titles would be fantastic. If they make Hellsing, I'm buying it day one. No, yeah. Well, obviously, yeah, 100%. 100%. The problem is licensing stuff with the companies that own the rights. Anime companies can be very picky. In fact, they will be picky with who you can even do collaborative content with. They want to check that they make positive content mostly and all this stuff. And the fact that I wasn't yet on that list was why I couldn't feature the Kaiju number 8 PC they were debuting at CES when I made that short about their new 3D printing. New UV printing technique. So, what's up, Forrest? How's it going? NMP Nick? What? Big O would be sick. Outlaw Star would be sick. Gundam. No mention of Cowboy Bebop. That's fine, I guess. But or Trigun would be awesome. If you're just gonna be, mentioning Full Metal Alchemist, bro. Yes. There's too many to list, honestly. Too many to list. What's up, Kenneth? How's it going? Welcome. Nick from Starforge. Yes, that Nick is the one I was talking to. What about Macross? Absolutely. Death Note, says V for V. Absolutely. Cowboy Bebop and FMA would be sweet as well. I was just giving some options. I would have filled the chat with too many options to make. Yeah. I know. Like I said, I said it myself. There's too many good ones. Dude, for freaking Dr. Stone would be sick. That'd be awesome. And I feel like Senku would really like it if he were not fictional. Attack on Titan. I think I talked to Nick about Attack on Titan, and I don't think that they can just straight up say no. I think that's one that they pursued, perhaps. We did mention Full Metal Alchemist. Yep. Apocalyptic says, what is he like? What is Nick from Starforge like? Nick is, and I'm not the only one saying this. His peers in the industry have also said this. People from other SIs who have gotten to meet him and talk to him. He's one of the smartest dudes in this business when it comes to this business. He is freaking sharp, but also he's just super chill and great to talk to. You know how I just go off on these enthusiastic tangents? That's Nick. That's him. He's an enthusiast, but he's also very smart about the business. I mean, come on. The thing that they did with starting up Starforge with OTK was freaking genius. That is built-in marketing from day one. It is nuts how smart that was. Yu Hakusho. How could I forget? I've got Yu Hakusho on my wall right over here. I've got Yusuke on the wall right here. How did I not think of that one? Rurouni Kenshin. Again, we could just keep going on forever. But older franchises are probably easier to get promos. The fans are growing up, got more money, and the old properties are losing value every year. I don't know. The ones that have established themselves, Rutu, as classics at this point, they kind of don't have to work at maintaining their value. They still sell merch. You still find t-shirts of them in Hot Topic. It's all still there. Pretty much any classic from old school, Adult Swim or Toonami would be nice. I got a question about full tower PC cases versus mid tower. Is cooling slightly better in smaller case? It depends, Frowler. I mean, it depends on how big some of the hardware is going to be, I guess. I don't know. I mean, if you don't outfit a larger case properly, then you can have some recirculation of air and stuff like that. In a smaller case, it's generally easier to get kind of all your bases covered when it comes to airflow. Like, small form factor can be absolutely monstrous for cooling, depending on its capabilities for what you can mount in it. They can be really, really good because you're just minimizing the amount of space inside the PC, which makes it easier to exchange the air. Because that's one of the primary purposes of airflow. Get the hot air that wants to sit inside the case, maybe rise a little bit, get it out and put colder air in there. And the smaller the volume of the case, the less air there is. And also the fewer openings that you'll have and whatnot that don't have some kind of positive or negative influence on the air. I mean, I don't mean that as in like negative isn't bad. I mean like whether it's trying to push it or pull it. That's not really the best way to phrase that, I guess. Prowler, yeah, that's also another thing. Is there's less space for the air to get trapped in there or recirculated or anything like that. Kind of a fan of Nick. He says some wild stuff. Okay, Apocalyptic. That's just a little creepy to say. Let's not go that route. Yeah, I don't know. That's just a weird thing to say about someone else's partner. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to help you out here. There you go. It all depends on the company and how they want to continue supporting it. True. TP Lock, welcome. How's it going? Frowler, you're welcome. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go take a look at Alexander PCs, see what changes have been made. Let's do that now. So, here we are, Alexander PCs. There you go. Damn, look at that Google review. 4.9 out of 5 stars. Go APC, man. Hell yeah. So, they have this thing where you can sort of do this rare, epic, and legendary, kind of like, you know, WoW drops, that kind of thing. Apocalyptic, I'm going to say this. let me put it this way, okay? Let's go back here. Let's say you're at a party, okay? And let's say that someone shows up with their partner, their girlfriend, their wife, whatever, and she's in a party dress, wanted to you know, go out, get fancied up, you know, and that's their business. They're in a place with other people, right? But hey, they're out there sharing their lives with everybody. They're here, right? And you walk up to them and say, you walk up to them and you're like, bro, your wife is hot. And let's say that the person hosting that party says, hey, listen, man, that's not cool. It's a little creepy. They're just here to party like everybody else. Can you not do that? This is my home. Well, right now, you're in my home. This stream, this community is my home. And if I decide that something you said felt creepy to me, that's not up to you. That's for me to decide. But I hope the example that I made helped you understand. That's all. I didn't, you know, I can just, if a message makes me feel uncomfortable, I feel like sometimes, and also, even if it didn't make me feel uncomfortable, if I think there's a chance of it making others uncomfortable, then I'm gonna remove that message. I have the right to do so on my own stream, and same thing in my own Discord, that kind of stuff. I didn't, you know, I didn't time you out, do anything like that, ban you, do anything like nothing. I just said, hey, please don't say stuff like that about someone else's partner. It's a little creepy. I have the right to say so. There you go. And just like the same way, if someone, it's like this. Imagine same party, right? Someone goes out and jumps and stands up on the table and starts shouting out racial slurs, or starts talking about you know, what they like to do at home when no one's around and they have certain incognito browsers open. If I tell that one, hey, you're not welcome to say that here, and they start shouting, don't censor me, is that censorship, or is it me saying, hey, this is my space, I don't really want you doing that? It's kind of the same thing. So yeah, I mean, if I straight up tell you, I'm not calling you names, I'm not calling you out, I'm just saying, hey, that was a little creepy, so I'm gonna remove that message. That's it. Bunch of guys talking, you know how it is, but I understand. Yeah, that's the thing. This is a public space, you know what I mean? And also, there are, I mean, let's see, we have, well, I mean, we have some female viewers here that might feel a little creeped out by that. We do, actually, pretty regularly. So, so just keep that in mind. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I appreciate your understanding. Thank you. What's up, Christopher Crawford? Welcome. How's it going? There's a thing to remember in life. Read the room. True. Very true. But let's get back to what we were doing. That's one thing about me, though, real quick, is I'm never going to, like, I'll always tell it to y'all straight if I feel a certain way about stuff. And that's a respect thing. I respect y'all enough to tell it to you straight. So that's all that is. Moving on, though. So let's take a look. Let's just go to gaming PCs and take a look at all of them. All of these say, let me see, keep going through and make sure they all say this. They all say 2.0. I guess we got a lot of PCs to look through until someone... Oh, we do have... Okay. The Force Gaming Network for Nerds has filled out the form. Okay. It's... Oh, boy. Okay. We'll talk about this in just a second. FGN, real quick, we're going to take a look through... I wanted to take a look through Alexander PCs on stream. We're just going to do that real quick. Actually, I could probably, if I turn off the music, I might be able to use this for a piece in SI Weekly. Okay. Not SI. It's not even going to be called that anymore, but yeah. Okay. So Alexander PCs has updated every one of their models to a 2.0. Live streaming right now. We're going to check these out live on stream and see what we think of these. Let's take a look through. Starting with the Auxilia here. And the Auxilia starting at $938, both Intel and AMD models. Let's see what it starts with. 12400F. So not very up to date on that. I mean, I know that there's not a ton of options in terms of really budget CPUs in Core Ultra 200S line, you know. But what about this? Okay, the AMD model looks more up to date here with a 7600X. So that's socket AM5, very upgradable for the future here. Let's see if these both have the same GPU. Graphics card, choose from, oh, it's up here. It's in the options. Okay, 1 second. Choose from, oh, it's right there. Sorry, it looks a little different from the ones with the pictures, so I got a little confused. A750 is what it starts out with. So an Intel Arc A750. Going up to a 7600, a Radeon 7600 is $1,047. Now, of course, with code Brayathorn on Alexander PCs, that brings it back down under $1,000 because you get 50 bucks off. But you can go all the way up to a 5060 Ti, 16 gig right here, and or a 7700 XT, meaning that you've got 1440p gaming going on with that. So not bad for 1313. But that's with 16 gigs of RAM. Then you upgrade that to 32 gigs, and you're at 1381 minus 50 bucks, of course. And it starts out with 1 terabyte of storage, perfect for this price point here. But you can go up to 2 or even 4 terabytes if you want to. So even adding an additional drive. Now, this is an MATX motherboard because the case is an MATX case. You see here, looks very nice. So this is the completely updated. Other than kind of on the Intel side, this is the updated. Okay, going to AMD does bump up the price though. 1436 with a 7700 XT. I think maybe at some point we'll see the 9060 XT on here. But the 7700 XT is a solid GPU for 1440p. Okay, FGN, I will get to your build in just a minute. We're just doing this first. I should probably be recording this, actually. Let's do that. So we'll get that first part off of YouTube and then the rest of it. Well, I guess then we got to download the whole thing. Anyways, I'll do that. Okay. Next, move up to the Hoplite 2.0. See what we got here. Same thing, probably same CPU, 12400F, AMD 7600X. No options to upgrade the CPU, but that's not the worst thing right there. That's not too bad. 7700X is going to be around the same price as the... this is the Auxilia with the 7700X is $1368, and if you do the Hoplite with the 7700X, it is actually $1,200, but on an Intel, $1369 on AMD. Going up that 170 bucks actually gives you socket AM5, more feature upgradability in your CPU. If you never feel like you're ever going to upgrade your CPU, then you shouldn't have to worry about that. But yeah, and you can get these also in black or white. It does add $20, and they say white GPU may not be available, but you're getting other parts in white: the CPU cooler, the case, the cables. Although the cables you can choose, make your choice on that. The RAM, I believe, go 32 gigs on the RAM, and you're up to 1457. Of course, subtract 50 bucks. Now, I do want to make clear still that Alexander PCs is a boutique builder, and you're getting a lifetime warranty with these, and shipping is included. So it might be a little higher than some bulk SIs that you see out there, some of the high volume sellers out there, but there is a method to that madness. Now, looking at the Artifacts 2.0, which is a small form factor build. This one is in the the Lianli A3 MATX case here. So there's a small form factor case. And you get choices between the 5060 all the way up to the 5060 Ti 16 gig. Not a huge range, but generally fine. And you're on Intel Core Ultra 5 225F. This is what I would have hoped to see in the in the Hoplite and in their budget builds. I would have hoped to see that. But you can move up to the 235, 245K, and all the way up to the 265K. Kind of my personal favorite in that lineup. It is an MATX motherboard with ASRock B860M live mixer, which is a gorgeous motherboard with some really nice features. You can go 64 gigs of DDR5 6000, 32 gigs DDR5 6000, or 96 gigs of RAM. And the fact that you can do that, put in a 265K, 4 terabyte primary drive, and a 4 terabyte secondary drive, or you could even go with the Kingston KC3000, you could have a little video editing rig in this thing that will actually really perform, though you are bringing that price up to $2451 at that point, especially if you go up to the 5060 Ti, 16 gig, which I really recommend you should if you're trying to edit video on this thing, $2671. You can also, one thing that you can do with Alexander PCs, being they are a boutique builder, these are choices you can make here, but you can also email them and say, hey, I'd actually like 5070 Ti in there. What would the extra cost be? And then they charge you the extra cost. Still, absolutely very flexible bunch of specs here. I mean, it starts at $1398. So, I mean, that's pretty good. A lot of small form factor builds. I mean, this is how much room you have in this thing. It's not the smallest SFF case, but this is harder to build in than a standard case. Also, with this setup, you're not going to have a ton of space for a really thick GPU, something to keep in mind. And also, they have a hard drive in this one. Very interesting. But no option to put in a spinning hard drive, mechanical hard drive in these options. But that's, again, something you could email them about. Like, hey, I want, a 24 terabyte drive in there. And bam, there you go. They'll add it in. But that can get in the way if you have a thicker card, which I think looks like this can handle up to a 3-slot card. That could get in the way if the card is longer, because it's going to bump into that right there. So anyways, let's keep this ball going. The Peltast 2.0. So the Peltast, they have moved to a new case. This is going to be the Lian Li Landcool 207, the 207 right here. Really nice case, really great build quality, highly reviewed by Gamers Nexus on that. And this one being Intel. This one, interestingly, see, I thought all of these had been updated to like the latest platforms. However, this one, interestingly, still has a 13400F. Now, I don't know if this is just a measure this is just a measure they have in place while they get rid of their older Intel stock. I mean, now that is 3 generations back, or 2 generations back, 3 generations back for the 12th gen stuff. I mean, it depends on how you count. You start at 0 or whatever. Anyways, it's years back at this point. But it's the only option, which I think is unfortunate. And I would probably only recommend the AMD version of this because of the future upgradability that you have here is awesome with the AM5. But what are you going to do? This one goes all the way up to a 9070 or a 5070 on the GPU. With the 9070 actually coming in at a higher price, but it does beat out the 5070 in most gaming benchmarks until you turn on ray tracing, which is where the 5070 can kind of take over on that. I like that small PC, kind of cool. It is. Small form factor is really nice, especially if you're not trying to have something big and showy. This one's gonna have the MSI MAG B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi, getting into a little bit higher end motherboards here, middle ground on that mid tier. Can't wait for the Landcool 4 coming out in October. Michelle, I had mixed feelings on that. I feel like the fans embedded in the front panel, the front glass panel, too gimmicky for me. I feel like. I wasn't a big fan when I saw it at Computex. That's why I didn't cover it. I probably should have covered it because it was getting all these glowing, this glowingly positive content, and I just felt like it was it's cool, I guess. It didn't really seem like a thing that was a really needed innovation. It's almost like they ran out of ideas. IMO looks like a cyberpunk boombox. Okay, maybe in that context, yeah. If you style it a certain way, it could be pretty rad. But just as the case by itself, it could be a cool canvas to do some neat stuff. But I wasn't really buying it. Looks nice. It gives me more of an RGB speaker look. Fair. It's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be polarizing. But most of the coverage I saw of it was like, wow. I'm like, Anyway, 32 gigs of RAM starting off. DDR5 6000, which is perfect for this Ryzen 5 7600X. MSI MAG, I already mentioned the motherboard starts with a terabyte, and you're coming in at 1856. So you're still, I feel like the default once you get $2,000 or higher should be 2 terabytes, but there's going to be people out there who don't need that. Maybe they're getting a gaming PC because they want to play like only 3 specific games that their buddies play. Okay, a terabyte should do. But if you're getting $2,000 or higher, which we're not there, even if you go 9070, you're still under 2K. Plus, especially if you get that $50 off with my code. But I feel like at this point, it's getting close to that, but you could very easily go, bam, 2 terabyte drive, and you're still not over 2K. So, not bad. This also comes in black or white as well. You choose that right there. Adds $20, and you might not get the white GPU. This was a big deal for Alexander PCs, honestly, because Alexander PCs before would only do a white PCs if they had white GPUs. And I respect that, but it's not always possible. And not everybody always cares about that. You might want to get the overall look of a white PC, but you don't want to spend the extra on a white GPU, or you understand that, hey, they're hard to get a hold of right now. So you could even maybe make the purchase and email them and say, hey, if it matters to you, you could say, hey, I'd rather wait for a white GPU. How long would that be? And then start the discussion. What is the cast latency on the RAM? Latency on RAM does not have any bearings on the performance of your FPS in games. I'm just interested if they show it. It's not shown here. But I don't know. It's a good question, actually. So now we're moving up. I don't know if I want to go through every one of these. We're kind of taking what I've discovered so far is that there's still old Intel in here. And I get why. I mean, I think one of the reasons might be that annoyingly, many of the voices, the trusted voices out there, I feel like really came down too hard on Intel Core Ultra 200S. I'm not a paid person by Intel to say that. This is not a sponsored message or anything. I'm just saying that everybody was like, yay, 9800X3D, which is awesome, but it's a bit expensive for only really helping you at 1080p. And stuff, there are some really cool CPUs in that lineup from Intel, the current lineup from Intel, and they're not getting the attention they deserve. It's like not everybody just games. And the 9800X3D is better than its predecessor at productivity stuff because of how they moved to 3D cache, but it's not anything close to like the 265K, which is also getting close to being half the price of, it's not there, but it's like approaching getting to be half the price of the 9800X3D. So we're only $20 off in both directions. So yeah, or so, more or less. Anyway, quick look through the phalanx here. Still old Intel. Wait, hold on. I'll have to tell TJ about this. This is a mistake because somehow this one comes with both a 13400F and a 7600X. And somehow they're getting that both of those CPUs installed into a B760. Yeah, that's just they just updated all this stuff, and some things will slip through the cracks. That's all that is. If I go AMD only, still we're going to have both of those. That's really technologically impressive. I'm not sure how they manage that. You're going to get one or the other, but it tells you what you're going to get if you get either one, I suppose. This one goes up to the 9070 or the 5070, and you're getting over that $2,000 price point here. If you like this more, this is going to be a sort of a certified Corsair one, I believe. It's all Corsair case, Corsair fans, Corsair cooler. Likely has, does it have Corsair RAM? It looks like it does. Let's take a quick peek here. That is Corsair RAM, probably Corsair storage. If we scroll down to storage, no, it's not Corsair storage. Surprised they got away with that one. But you'll notice that you can adjust your RAM on like you have been able to on every other build. They get a specific RAM kit for this because they probably worked with this one on worked with Corsair on this build. I would think 1 terabyte if over 1500 at this point myself, especially when I sell any. Well, that's your standard, and I do personally agree with that, but I think it's a bit much to ask SIs to follow. You know, especially if you're getting ridiculous specs at like $1,800, I understand if it's a 1 terabyte drive. I make it kind of a rule of thumb for $2,000 and up for that reason, so that you can get some ridiculous deals just under $2,000. No, I got you. I see. I figured what you said. If you buy 9800 X3D and are playing 1080p, that leads to questions on priorities. Well, actually, Alucard, if they are doing it competitively, their priorities are exactly where they should be. You know, high FPS stuff. They have a solid GPU. It's not actually a budget like sub $1,000 PC where they spend half their budget on the CPU, or like I guess you couldn't really fit that into there. If you spend $2,000 for an esports machine and it's got a 9800 X3D and like a 9070 and 9070 XT in there, cool. Like that's going to be rad for stuff like, you know, CS2, things like that. Oh, I just like oddball stuff like ASA cases. I love those cases. They are really nice. Lenko 4 seems like old days when Modder cut holes in front of Chief Tech cases. Those are speed holes, is what that is. Those are speed holes. Vintage Chief Tech Super Tower cases are cool. I think they were named Dragon Case. Interesting. Right. I would love to get a current gen Intel, but I heard rumors that they were going to scrap the form of the CPU next gen. Are you what? Really? LJ 1851 would be a single gen. That would be that. We have many histories of sockets with Intel to show that they will make that new socket, put out that first generation of CPUs, and then improve upon that with a second generation of CPUs, and then they move on. Because of the investment of R&D, the research and development that go into the pin out, all those pins, the socket, everything, chipsets, everything, which just get an iterative upgrade on the chipset for the next generation. That right there tells me that they would still want to sell more of those motherboards and just that CPU form factor, just to get the ROI. Because that might be the only reason they don't go new socket every generation. Actually think about it. On the last one, they did a whole refresh just to sell, you know, to get the most out of that development. You know what I mean? I forgot which one that was too. Apocalyptic. I don't remember. Put on your fast pants. What's going on? So yeah, I'm gonna have to tell TJ, but he'll get that fixed in like a second, probably once I tell him. But I am a bit dismayed to see so much old Intel. I would like to see that people who want to get a budget entry point for a more mid-range entry point for. I mean, you can fit a 265K into this system pretty easily because of how much the price has dropped. It's kind of crazy. So we'll move past the Phalanx here. Centurion 2.0. Centurion is a storied and well-known system around here. And look at this. Look at this, people. Right here. This is what I like to see. If you want to stick to previous gen, you can. But look at this. 245K, 265K. And the difference between the 245K and 265K is $50. That's 265K is such a freaking deal. It is so good. Do not get it with a 5060 Ti, though. This system should be getting something like a 5070 Ti or 9070 XT, very likely. But that 265K is so freaking choice at this price point. Okay, put on your fast pants. Let's start off with a little timeout there. It's a little bit weird to say when you come into a stream about computers. It's nice that I'm kind of covering the chat there, so y'all didn't even see it over on the YouTube side. Yeah. So a little reminder that I do keep the streams family friendly because I'm trying to help out a lot of people with PCs. A lot of younger people come in and get help with that stuff too. But I do raid other streamers that don't have that same kind of self-imposed limitation. But that doesn't mean that around here I like things to get crazy like that, because I don't. I try to keep things friendly for everybody in here. Okay, back to it. Let's see. There's a lot of options. Oh, hell yeah. This thing is sick. There are so many options in here. So starting out price is $1,748 with a 14600K, which, to be clear, with the latest microcode, the 14600K is pretty great for its was pretty great for its price point before, and you didn't need a lot more if you were going to be gaming. I mean, actually, even for 1080p gaming, it was pretty rad. That combined with, say, the 57, not like a 9070 in here for 2078 is going to be really good. Now on AMD side, the three options you have are 9700X, 7800X 3D, or 9800X 3D. With the price difference between the 7800X 3D and 9800X 3D being about $50, not too bad, actually. Now, you only get one motherboard choice for the 9800X 3D. You're not getting the X670E. You're going to be getting this X870E version instead. But I would obviously, if you're going with a higher end CPU, you're definitely going to want to upgrade to the all-in-one liquid cooler IMO. Actually, with any of these, 9700X could be cooled by this P2 S2D from Boreas, which is looks like a dual tower cooler. But I would probably go for the 280 millimeter cooler there. And let's see, you can get up to 96 gigs of, you can get 32, 64, or 96 gigs of RAM, which is awesome. And of course, you can get up to, you start off, your primary drive, your only choice is to get a higher end KC3000 from Kingston, which is 7,000 megabyte per second, up to 7,000 megabyte per second read and write speeds. Pretty rad. Then you can make that 4 terabyte. You can get a secondary drive that's going to be a NV3, which is still PCIe Gen 4, but has slower speeds than the KC3000. Not that much slower, though. Big upgrade over the NV2. It is DRAM-less, though. No DRAM cache on this thing. I would get a 14600K. The problem is that I'm not a fan of the 2.5-inch SSD in a Newegg bundle. Oh, well, I mean, if it doesn't raise the price barely at all, and just get the free SSD. I don't know. I don't know if it's free or not. Or, no, you're probably paying for it if it's a bundle, actually. 7700X was a great CPU. It was. It was. And then they just made it more efficient with better temps on the 9700X. Always a good thing. But yeah, this thing has a lot of... I mean, you could totally kit this thing out with a 5070 Ti or 9070 XT. Either one. It's looking like a $90 difference. It's $90 cheaper to get the 9070 XT. I would say if you're going to be doing 4K gaming, go with the 5070 Ti. This thing is, if it is kind of insane for 4K gaming at its price point. But you're with everything maxed out. Let's not do the storage thing. Let's do a 2 terabyte KC3000 in that case, 2964. So this has the let's go with the actually 9700X is fine. If you're going to be doing 4K gaming with a 5070 Ti, which it is very capable of that, then you don't need anything X3D. Go with a 9700X, you're good to go. Or go, if you're going to be doing any productivity stuff with this as well, I would suggest the 265K, the Intel Core Ultra 7 265K. It's a fantastic deal for that. And it's actually a 20-core CPU, and with that 20-core CPU, you're getting it cheaper overall than the 8-core 16-thread 9700X setup on AMD side. If you plan on upgrading your CPU over time, though, you do go AMD here. You're going to have one generation that's going to come out, one additional generation come out that's going to be compatible with the LGA 1851 socket from Intel. And that's probably going to be happening maybe late this year or mid next year. It depends on when they come out with it, how long they're trying to stretch that out. But that's going to be it. If you want to be able to do an upgrade in 4 years and put a new CPU in there that's going to have multi-generational uplift in performance, you got to go AMD there. Unless Intel is doing something that none of us would expect. 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte drive, all of that, 28. Of course, subtract $50 with my code there, and you have a 4K gaming machine there. Just like that. Pretty nice. 4K gaming, also streaming. You can do you can do video editing with this. If you're going to do that, though, maybe jump up to the 64 gigs of RAM, which does bring it up to 2971. You're still under 3K, and you have 64 gigs of DDR5 6400 CL32, which for Intel, very, very good. Damn, those cards run hot. Do not that desktop under your desk. V for V, what is that last bit in that comment? I know I have the same CPU upgrading my rig to a 10900X when it comes out, or the 11900X. Right. Who knows what they're going to do? They went 5,000, 7,000, 9,000, I guess 11,000. What's up, Braxton? How's it going? Comes free for it as a bundle for on 190. Well, if it's free, you can't be picky. It's just free. At least it's not a mechanical hard drive. Also, please don't tell me the capacity. There's no way I would want to know that, Alucard. I'll pop in when I can. Stream wars. Okay, cool, Skeeter. Anyways, this is a really flexible system they have here. You can do a lot with it. And also, one thing I know is this motherboard, the MSI MAG Z890 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. We're going to take a look at this really quick. And this is something that I will obsess over. I obsess over motherboards, so you don't have to, okay? The specs on this thing, well, let's look at the gallery first. The I/O on this is okay. It's pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. Like if you want to stream. If you're just gaming, this is more than you need, okay? But if you're just gaming, then just get the 9700X system. If you want to do anything that's like you want to do streaming, and then do some edits of those streams, the video editing, things like that. You might for your stream setup want a little bit more in the way of USB here. Now, an easy answer for that is just to get yourself a PCIe add-in card with a lot more USB ports on it. That just pops right in. It's plug and play, super easy. Okay, and they're like $25-30, no problem. But if you don't want to have to do that, or maybe you're trying to put in 2 capture cards or something like that instead, you want to have decent I/O back here. And this isn't bad. This is not bad. It's just there's so much wasted space here where they could have put more. I hate to see that. But you have 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, 10 gigabit USB Type-C as well, 3 10 gigabit USB Type-A's, 4 5 gigabit per second USB Type-A's, and then 5 gigabit Ethernet and Wi-Fi 7. This is well kitted out for most people. If you're gonna be getting serious about streaming, though, you run out of USB way faster than you might think. You have to trust me on this. So I've done it. Now, the spacing on... How can I get this to actually show me everything? Okay, the spacing on these ports, if you're putting a really thick GPU in here, it may obstruct this, but you're not going to be putting that. Like the 9070 XT or the 5070 Ti, generally you're not going over 3-slot card. So you have 2, it looks like PCIe X16 here. But here's the interesting part, and where MSI kind of went nuts on this particular motherboard. Check this out. A lot of these motherboards compromise on how many lanes their PCIe slots get, or whether if you use a second one, it bifurcates the main. Basically, you go from having 16 full lanes for your GPU down to 8. If you're looking at a 5070 Ti, that's not really going to affect anything, but higher end GPUs, yes. It very well could, especially if they're not PCIe Gen 5, because you're only getting 8 lanes of PCIe Gen 4. Anyways, you know what? I'm not going to go fully down that rabbit hole. But what they did here was those 2 X16 slots in the middle and at the bottom are both through the chipset, and they're both 4 lanes, which is awesome. Because if you want to do a really elaborate streaming setup and you have multiple cameras, you get yourself a CamLink Pro with 4 HDMI inputs, and that is going to take 4 lanes of PCIe, right? It can be PCIe Gen 2, but you still need 4 lanes. Or if you want to do something like the AverMedia 4K 2.1, which is HDMI 2.1, that also requires 4-lane PCIe. And that's to get really high-end capture of like a console, if you have a separate gaming PC, whatever. So this thing is awesome for a streaming PC for that reason. Also, you can get a USB add-in card that is 10 gigabit per second on many of the ports, any USB ports, Type-C. So... also awesome. Anyways, little aside there. Sorry. Good motherboard choice by Alexander PCs. That's all I'm saying. I think I stuck to that one a little too long. Gladiator 2.0 coming in at 3200 starting out, 3207, but with a crazy aesthetic here in the O11 Vision. And they went, see, this is where you're seeing Core Ultra 200S with the CPU starts with a 265K. One of the things that helps keep this price a little down on a higher end system starts with a 9070 XT. What you're looking at here, though, just the aesthetics, it's adding hundreds of dollars to the price because these are all Lee & Lee Unifans. The O11 Vision case does not come with any. These are reverse flow here, and then standard flow right there. The aesthetic is costing money. It's adding money to the price, but you can go up to a 5080 or 7900 XTX. 5070 Ti, I think, is what I would go here if you're doing content creation. Because the 7900 XTX, not great for that. 9070 XT falls below the 5070 Ti in video editing stuff, and particularly in Premiere Pro. And the 5080 barely scores higher than the 5070 Ti in most testing for like Adobe Premiere Pro for video editing. 5070 Ti is kind of goated here. And it's only going to add about $90 to the price to go from the 9070 XT to the 5070 Ti. 16 gigs VRAM, just like the 5080. Great choice. Also, you can go white here, but as you can see, there are more devices, more things to add in white, and that means it's going to be plus $30. I wouldn't jump from the 265K up to the 285K because that adds $310 just to give you an additional 4 efficiency cores. No thanks, Intel. You already got it right with the 285K. And I know frequencies are higher, but so is power draw and heat output. Go to 64 gigs of RAM if you're doing things like video editing. If you're just gaming, but if you're going to be playing games that you have heard are RAM hungry, like Escape from Tarkov notoriously, if you're buying at this price point, over $3,000, just get the 64 gigs of RAM, just so you never have to worry about that. Now, what I don't like to see at this price point, which at its cheapest starts at $3,000, I don't think 1 terabyte drives should even be an option. I think the default, and I've talked to TJ about this. I've talked to Jeff from SkyTech about this. I've talked to plenty of SI people about this. But no one should spend over $2,000 or $2,500 or whatever dollars and get a PC with just a terabyte of storage. If you have ever downloaded a game, if you've downloaded a game in the last few years, you know they're getting to be ridiculously large download sizes. It's crazy. And download like 4 AAA titles, you're already almost out of space. That's it. Pretty crazy. So definitely something to consider. I would remove the 1 terabyte option. Get the best, excuse me. I would remove the 1 terabyte option. Get the best pricing that you can to buy a bunch of those Alexander PCs and try to fit that in here at a similar-ish price. Because if you look at just making the upgrade yourself, it is $129 to get this high-end Kingston Fury Gen 5 drive. This is a high-end drive. This is 14,000, up to 14,000 megabyte per second read speeds on this thing. It's a PCIe Gen 5 drive. So yeah, that's expensive for the 1 terabyte. It's also more expensive for the 2 terabyte. But I mean, at 2 terabytes, if you're mostly gaming, you're not going to have much problems. Plus, adding storage yourself, very, very easy to do down the road. It's just that if you're getting a pre-built PC, you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't be obligated to do that within the first year of you owning your PC. You should never have to open it IMO. It should be a complete product out of the box, commensurate with its price point. Okay, put on your fast pants. I'm gonna go ahead and put you in timeout. Don't. Someone just said hello, and being rude to them. I don't like that. So, all right, one more timeout, and just chill out a little bit. Just relax. Try being friendly. It's usually a good policy. And that next one's gonna be a ban. Okay. There are rules that you agreed to when you came into chat, and you're pretty much breaking them. So don't do that, because that's how you get banned. All right? Where can I get those PCI USB add-in cards? Amazon? Yes, I get them off Amazon. John Paul Bacon, there's no way I could even speculate on whatever NVIDIA is doing with their CPUs. No way at all. Anwar said, if you're thinking about doing video editing, don't even think about getting 1 terabyte. Very true. Skeeter, you don't think you've ever seen a ban? I've banned people in seconds for saying certain things. Those things haven't been said yet, but you know. let's just hope it doesn't come to that. Anyway, Alucard, I don't know if you're, I know you're probably back and forth, like you said, working on stuff. But if I could ask you to just keep an eye out right now, that timeout's going to end in 5 minutes. And I need you to keep an eye out around that time, okay? What's up, Bergie5? Welcome to the stream. How you doing? I still think Braithorn is being super nice. I try to be. Honestly, some of the people who have turned out to be like some of the coolest who come around, who still to this day hang out. A few of those people came in kind of being jerks, but I just like handled it like normal, and I was just like, hey, you know, don't do that. We're just chill here. And they realized, because if you watch a lot of streamers, you realize a lot of them are very contentious with their chat. Like they call them names, they call them, you know, worse than idiots, things like that. They call, you know, and then they get called stuff back. And that's just the vibe there. And that's fine. I've hung out in some of those chats, not really chatting much, mostly lurking. But the thing is, if you feel, if you're experiencing that vibe somewhere else and then you come here, you might think, oh, that's the same thing here because that's how people are. No, no, no. That's a different group of friends. Look at it that way. Okay. Here, we're just chilling out. We're more chill than that. I like my chat. I don't necessarily talk smack. Sometimes they troll me, sometimes I troll them. But generally, I'm not a straight up jerk to chat. But in life and in social situations, you get out what you put in. And if you're coming in being a jerk to any of my community members, you better believe that's the treatment you're going to get from me if that keeps up. Like that's you're all bets are off at that point. So yeah. Oh, see, Alucard is a mod, Skeeter, so that's sort of like, this is the kind of stuff that they're supposed to catch. But Alucard, a lot of the time, is doing PC builds and just kind of lurking. So that's just the nature of that. So yeah, this is not XQC. This is not Oats and Goats. Like, I love watching his streams or his YouTube videos, but man, they are mean to each other, his chat and him. Like, that's just, it's funny. Oops. We all need to be respectful to each other and do what we can to support each other. That's that's the vibe I like to have. This is the sanctuary from all that. This is the calm, the eye. This is the calm here. We're chill here. We're you know that there's enough of that negativity out there. I like to be chill, talk about PCs, and help people out. By the way, I'm not going to be doing this for too much long. FGN, I'm sorry about that. But I am doing this for potential content, because I did want to cover this stuff. Anyways, I talked about this enough. Oh no, the Gladiator I haven't been on for too long. But anyways, you can go into this thing just to grab yourself 32 gigs of RAM. You know, just go with the 265. Don't go with the 285K. Or you can go AMD if you want to get yourself a 9800X3D or 9900X3D. I probably would have just skipped up to the 9950X3D. Not a big fan of the 9900X3D in general. Same way I was with the 7900X3D. I'm just not a big fan of it. You end up with fewer cores when you have core parking than a 9800X3D. You have 6 cores at that point once you turn on a game. That won't normally matter at this price point because you're probably trying to game in 4K or 1440p, but still, it's just a pet peeve of mine. But anyways, 9800X3D, if that's the route you want to go. If you're trying to do competitive level 1080p gaming, there are cheaper systems here that you can get that 9800X3D and something like 9070 XT or 9070, but then get extreme 1080p performance. But yeah. What's up, Ghost Boner? How's it going? Don't worry about it, man. It's all good. I'm here for the chill chat. Much appreciated. I respect that. As far as I'm concerned, everyone gets a spanking from time to time. So B-Man, take your... Okay, move on. Live it up with whoever will suffer you. Well, people around you shouldn't suffer. V for V. I think that's maybe the root of it. You know, people around you should be better for you being around. That's what I try to do that. Yeah, I know that, but I figured I can redeem a highlight so you see it if needed. That would be appreciated, actually. I should get sound alerts of some kind going. Anyways, really gorgeous system. Wait, what is a screen mod upgrade? Oh, that's right. So there is a screen mod you can put in here for $125. It's an 8.8-inch sort of long screen that goes in above the motherboard right here. And I would love to see that. That looks like the perfect size for something like that. The cable management would have to be a little different though, but yeah. One of the cool things about the O11 Vision is the fact that you can hide the tubes, and you probably wouldn't be able to go that route if you do that mod. But for 125, it can add a lot of style to your build. Anyway, we're getting into the really high-end stuff here, clearly. Now we're looking at the Strategos 2.0, and this is where you're getting a really high-end Corsair build. 265K minimum on the, it's a Intel Core Ultra 7 265K minimum on the Intel side, and a 9800X 3D minimum on the AMD side. Captain Crunch or Raisin Bran. Okay, I guess we're doing a poll during my YouTube recording. Okay, Alucard, if you can hear me, can you please set up that poll that was requested by Skeeter Gaming? Michelle, that is a cool mod. I've done mods like that. There was actually a time where I did a build for a community member, and I did a mod like that. It was super cool. It was in the Fractal Torrent, and it was along the side of the front panel facing the glass. So it was right there, so you could see a readout of temps and other telemetry. Had the vision, absolutely beautiful. 100% agree. I actually have an O11 Vision PC that I might be selling sometime soon. So just so y'all know. Okay, back to this though. This one has a higher end motherboard. And let me tell y'all something. Remember how I mentioned earlier that I'm kind of obsessed with motherboards? Let me zoom out on this thing a little bit. Boop. Okay. You remember how I said earlier that I'm kind of obsessed with motherboards? Well, this one is pretty amazing. There's one big downside to me, though, that's kind of a pet peeve of mine, because, of course, I have pet peeves about motherboards, but you know, why wouldn't he? But yeah. But I want to show you the rear I/O on this thing. Look at that. Wow, really high resolution picture there, MSI. Good job. But this is, every one of these USB Type A ports is 10 gigabit per second. Okay, and there are 9 of those with 4 USB Type Cs, 2 of them being 10 gigabit per second. Yes, so USB 3.2 Gen 2. But then you have 2 of these that are USB 4, 40 gigabit per second, with dual Ethernet. So 5 gigabit for, say, your main internet connection. If you have fiber internet, you can probably get up to that speed, depending on the area that you live in. And then 2.5 gig that you could do locally for something like network storage. Or you can swap those around. If you only have 2 gig internet or something like that, or 1 gig, put your Ethernet from your router there, and then have really fast network storage, that kind of thing. I'm 57 years old. I prefer the taste of Captain Crunch, but unfortunately, Raisin Bran is more my speed. Fair. Kind of. I watched you argue with Jeff for 20 minutes about which motherboard was better. Yeah, been there. Yep, I have done that. Try the healthy cereals. I can't get past the taste of cardboard. Wish I could. Hold on. Looks like I need to... Hold on. Do I have pics in Discord? Michelle, I haven't put it up for sale or anything yet. So I did do an unboxing of it, though. So I can find the link to that one. It was one from Skytech a while back. Anyway, let me... What was I doing? I guess let me do the poll real quick. What the heck? I was in caps lock. There you go. There's your poll. Okay. It just got very quiet. Yeah, because I don't have music and I had to do that. Okay. Yeah, so tons of I/O on this thing. But where's my pet peeve? I mean, also, it's a gorgeous motherboard. Like, it's a beautiful motherboard. Where my pet peeve is here, actually. Right about this area. Right there. So if you're like, this would otherwise be an amazing... I obsess about what motherboards are good for streaming because, hello, I stream. This would be with that I/O, this would be an amazing motherboard for streaming. Except that you could only put something here if you want to have 16 lanes of PCIe up here. These are both connected to the CPU, and they share the 16 lanes of PCIe Gen 5. So if you put like a capture card here, it's going to cut it down to X4 here, but this can still only get X8 lanes, 8 lanes of PCIe Gen 5. That is a huge downside to this motherboard. And I think some of that bandwidth was dedicated to getting that insane amount of high bandwidth I/O on the rear I/O panel. So what are you going to do? You do have things like a 7-segment display for error codes, which is great for SIs to have for remote troubleshooting. Just tons of power in this one with great VRM cooling. Tons of M.2 sockets here, though there is going to be some conflicts with M.2 here as well, I think. Let me see. So let's see. PCIe 1, PCIe 2, and M.2_2, so it's the second M.2 slot, share bandwidth because 2 M.2 slots, let me see, looking here, 2 M.2 slots go to the CPU. But there are a total of 4, so you can use the primary one and the 2 others, and then you're fine. Anyways, great motherboard. Just that's my one issue with it. And I think they could have done that differently. But in this one, you can get, of course, up to 4 terabytes of Gen 5 storage in that primary drive. That would be a good argument, I think, for going 2 terabytes. And again, this thing being over $3,000 right out of the gate, it should be 2 terabytes by default. But I get it. I get it. It is a Gen 5 drive, and even a 1 terabyte drive there is expensive. I understand. It's just hard. I guess what I could say is this. If it's Gen 4 storage at $2,000 or higher, it should be 2 terabytes by default. If it's Gen 5 storage, kind of all bets are off until that becomes even cheaper. So, yeah. Holy input, Batman. Oh, I will dig. I'll check that out. No, I'll get you a link to it soon as I'm done with this recording part. Put on your fast pants. I'm going to ask you a favor. I want you to stick around. I want you to stick around. Just understand that the vibe here is different from a lot of chats on Twitch. That can be, and I don't know if you were around when I was talking about it, but they can be, it's fun to just like troll the streamer all the time or like say all this crazy stuff. And it's just like, let's see if I get banned, but I'd rather not. I'd rather you get to stick around. So let's put on your chill pants instead. I would appreciate that. Well, I mean, you got the mod panel so you can see. Deal? Hell yeah. That's what I want to see. Love it. Looks like you're eating Captain Crunch so far, Skeeter. We'll see. Unfortunately, we're not helping you stay regular. Dragonfire wants to know, what's a good combo CPU, GPU for competitive 1080p gaming? Well, Dragonfire, I appreciate you not giving me a budget, so I can say 5090 and 9800X 3D. Enjoy. I mean, it's going to cost you like a lot of money, but ooh, what do I got here? What is it? I'm guessing you got me the mango one. Peach mango. Thank you, baby. Appreciate it. Apparently, Taco Bell has agua frescas now. This is the peach mango one. That was my lovely partner who brought that to me. She's the best. Oh, snap. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Hold up. So it would appear that Bergie5 has gifted 5 tier 1 subs to the community. Let's go, nerds. What did I do with, I'd really just straight up pause the music. There we go. That is a tier 1 sub for MGTT Rue, Whalesbon, Mouse Imperial, Fishurious, and Borke Brown. Welcome to the Swarm. There we go. I had to have some music or something. Oops, we don't have to be echo anymore. Thank you very much, Bergie5. What was that for? What did I do? Why not the Ryzen 9 9950X 3D? T. Peterloff? Well, I am talking about streaming a lot, and if you're going to be streaming and you want the 16-core CPU to run like really intensive streaming stuff, then you got to understand that once you turn on a game, you have a 9800X 3D, not a 9950X 3D. Plus, it is way more expensive than something like a 265K. It is literally the most expensive consumer-grade desktop CPU on the market right now. All for something that loses half its cores if you start up a game. So it performs really well, but price to performance, not worth it to me. Oh, Skeeter. So hold up. Skeeter Gaming coming in with 500 biddies. Let's go, nerds. Thank you, Skeeter. Much appreciated, bud. Thank you. Running a game on that CPU will cause the CPU to core park one whole CCD. Yeah, you lose 8 cores. I mean, and honestly, if you're like, I want to edit video and I want to edit video in 4K, but I want to have a really high-end level of performance for 1080p gaming. That is the situation, or you want to do other productivity stuff like Blender. That's the situation where the 9950X 3D makes sense. There is literally no other situation where you shouldn't just get a 9950X if you want to have great 1440p or 4K gaming performance and do productivity stuff. The 9950X 3D, X3D means almost nothing at any resolution higher than 1080p. Unless you know you're playing games that are specifically CPU bound, like Microsoft Flight Simulator, okay, stuff like that. I hear Rust is also pretty CPU intensive at any resolution, apparently. All right, let's get back to it. I saw someone using high-end GPU and fast CPU with TN panel 500 hertz. It was looking pretty nuts for 1080p. That's when X3D makes sense, Frowler, right there. Dragonfire, I'd love to answer your question, but I don't have enough information. I would need, if you want me to really help you with an entire parts list, check out the description of the stream. The first link right there, you can fill out a form, and you'll be next on the list after I finish helping out Force Gaming Network here in just a little bit. We're almost through this. Anyway, it is a nice PC if you want to have all Corsair stuff. I feel like for the price, if you're concerned, if you prioritize aesthetics, I would say go instead with the Gladiator 2.0, but the Strategos does have some really nice options to it. The Assassin 2.0 is one of their more straightforward. This is their straightforward, low RGB, just high airflow wind tunnel of a system. If you're not a big fan of RGB, this is going to be the one to go with. You can still get it in white, and the only thing you're going to have is like a little RGB maybe on the fan, on the GPU, not the fans, on the GPU, and like the power supply shroud. That's it. But this is in the Fractal Torrent, a case I've built in before, and if you want incredible airflow for an air cooler, this is really hard to beat. I'm interested in seeing how the BF360 from Haven does in comparison to the Torrent. What was the poll result? I missed it. I was switching laundry. Oh, you're going to love it, Skeeter. You're going to love it. You had 2 votes for Captain Crunch and 2 votes for Raisin Bran. You're welcome. It's ironic that AMD is now the high-tier, high-cost option for CPUs, and Intel is the chaser, lower-cost option. Also, they're just better for not just gaming, and AMD is the gaming champ. So it did have a big old switcheroo. Okay, Skeeter, just go ahead and fill out a form, and I'll help you decide which cereal you should eat. I'm just kidding. I don't have a form for that. Why would I? Now, you can choose for this between the Boreas P262D or a more expensive option by $125, the Noctua NHD15. And the only option for CPU on Intel is the 285K, and on AMD, it is the starting with 9000X3D up to 9900X3D and 9950X3D. So, but here's the thing. If you're running something like a Noctua NHD15, when I built in this case, that's the cooler I went with. It is getting an insane amount of fresh air pushed through it, not by just the Noctua fans, but the 180 millimeter fans on the front of the Fractal Torrent. Plus, behind it, there is almost no restriction for just passive exhaust. It just moves an insane amount of air through it. Okay. Of course, you're looking at PCIe Gen 5 storage as well here. Now, that's only for your primary storage, not your secondary. You're going to get Gen 4 on either of the options there with the slower option and the faster option. And on the motherboard, it is the same X870E Carbon Wi-Fi motherboard as the one in the previous system. So you can go black or white for this. It's absolutely awesome. If you don't really want RGB, but you still want an insanely high performance system, there you go. And then we get up to the Muse 2.0. This is a new system. Oh, this is a system I hadn't really looked at myself. Actually, I skipped the Tecton and the Spartan, and I'd skipped both of those. Okay, we're going back real quick. The Tecton 2.0 is a system that starts out at about just under $2,000. You're still starting with the 245K, so Intel Core Ultra 200S, the K-SKU processors, so all the overclockable ones, Core Ultra 5, 7, and 9 on that. And this case right here, this is the Lee. Which one is it? What is it called? Okay, this is a Landcool 217, but with the wood paneling on it right here. There's a newer case from Lee, and it's got an interesting pattern on the front mesh. This is so new to Alexander PCs. Almost every system from Alexander PCs they use pictures of builds they've done. This is just an empty case. That's how new this system is for them. Okay. And you're at 5060 Ti 16 gig, 5070, or 5070 Ti. Okay. Now, being at around $2,000, I'd probably skip the 5060 Ti. The 5070 for some pretty high-end 1440p, it can do that. I really like the 5070 Ti, but it adds almost $350 to the price, $330 or so to the price. That's pricing on GPUs right now, and SIs are not immune to that. But 5070 Ti, you're looking at 2486, and you're in 4K gaming territory easily. And that's when you would not need, if you're just 4K gaming, don't upgrade from the 245K. You don't need to spend extra on your CPU at that point. You're starting with the air cooler, but you can get up to a 360 millimeter AIO, the Liquid Freezer 3, or the Noctua NHD15. Actually, the 360 millimeter AIO, that's how expensive that NHD15 is. It's cheaper to get a 360 millimeter AIO. Really saying something. Buddha Cat, what's up? Can save you lots of money if you make a non-RGB build, or is it just a couple dollars better go with RGB? RGB is just a preference thing at this point. It used to be pretty expensive. Now it's just you'll see cheaper systems with kind of similar specs. Actually, that is just, it's a premium non-RGB or minimal RGB system with the Assassin. We need a newer generation of Cooler Master HAF case. I did release the Cooler Master short. Did you happen to see that one, John Paul Bacon, by the way? To be honest, that flavor, Pop-Tarts, I don't like the brown sugar one. I'm a s'mores guy myself. RGB equals better FPS, bro. Well, not necessarily. It's random graphics boost. So sometimes better, sometimes not. 5070 or Ti would be best for this price. Yeah. But this is another system with a lot of options, including something that would look great with this wood build, which is going to be the Asus ProArt Z890 Creator Wi-Fi. There's some really cool things about the Creator Wi-Fi. I wish they had done better on the I/O. It's not insane, and I'll show you. It's not basically where I would want it to be for a Creator system. But when I think Creator, I think also streamer, and that's not always going to be the case. If for Creator, you might be thinking video editor, and there's some really cool stuff in terms of storage here. Some Creator, like you have bifurcation going here. This is an X8 PCIe slot that goes to CPU, because sometimes you're going to have something like, oh, I'm going to put a 5090 up here, and down here, I'm going to get a separate GPU just to be dedicated to encoding or whatever. Like, I don't know why you do that with 5090. Maybe you're getting like the 5080 ProArt GPU here, but then you're putting in something like, just a 5060 Ti 16 gig here, and you're just doing it for AVI, not AVI, oh my God. And you're just using that for AV1 encoding, AV1 encoding. But my thing is that they really kind of whiffed it on the IO here. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But at this price point, at this level, and for creators, it should be better. I mean, you're looking at a total of, and there are still a lot of devices that you buy right now that are USB Type A. You have basically not that many. Okay, you have 7 USB Type A ports here. Now you have 10 gig Ethernet, which if you have really fast, if you want to have a really fast 10 gig local network with a crazy NAS drive on there for your local storage, you can use that here. And if you have lower than 2.5 gigs on your internet, this port's perfectly fine for that. But you do have Thunderbolt 4 right here, and you have dual Thunderbolt 5 in this thing, okay? Which is nuts. So you don't even need necessarily fast network storage. You can get a NAS with Thunderbolt 5. They're the newer NAS drives out there. There are newer sort of plug-and-play options that can just be over Thunderbolt 5. Pretty crazy. So they prioritize other stuff. Big deal. Problem is, because of that, if you want to run a crazy capture card in here, you're going to bifurcate your X16 slot, the GPU slot. Or if you want to put, like, say, a big capture card here, but you need another thing for extra I/O because this just isn't enough for you, well, you're going to bifurcate your X16 slot. I don't think they should be doing that, but I see with a creator board, they might want to have that extra GPU for dedicated encoding. Sure. All right, I get it. I always thought the ASUS Pro stuff was a bit overpriced. Bergie5, I disagree. I just wish they did better with the I/O. Dual Thunderbolt 5, 10 gig Ethernet. This thing is next level in specific ways. I get it. I do get it. I do get it. With this, let me see. Also, I guess they got rid of the DisplayPort in. Oh, no. They got it right here. So this is really cool. You could also do DisplayPort in from your GPU to right here. And with that, you can actually get a Thunderbolt optical extension. So you can have your PC stowed away and still have a primary display coming out. And that's going to be over Thunderbolt. So you also get I/O running over a fiber cable, so you can have it all the way in another room. And if you're doing voice acting stuff, that can be really useful. Or if you're doing music, that could be useful. If you don't want noise, if you're doing live recording of instruments, that can be actually really important. So creator indeed. It's just, look at how much space they wasted here. This could have been, just throw in 4 USB 2.0 ports. You have one, but you could have 4 of them here. It's going to barely take it. It's just like mouse, keyboard, slower peripherals. And that frees up your faster ports for other stuff. Anyway, whatever. That's, yeah. Also, you only get 1 USB 2.0 header. So if you're trying to put a bunch of RGB in there, good luck. Every RGB hub, AIO, all those things want USB 2.0 headers. And here you only have 1. Most motherboards that are way cheaper than this one have 2. ProArt stuff design is gorgeous. It is. Anyway, let's see. But for this thing, with the ProArt stuff, you also have, of course, interesting that the OS drive, you're getting a slower drive. You're not getting the KC3000 as default, but I get it. I suppose this is coming at a lower price point. But now that we've gone with the 5070 Ti and the ProArt board, yeah, just get the Live Mixer Wi-Fi Z890 motherboard, which is also, by the way, actually, I wanted to look at that one real quick. I know I'm doing this for a long time, guys. This is how the recordings for SI Weekly usually go. They're really long. The editing has to be brutal to make them watchable. Hanging out here, we can talk back and forth, but someone just sitting through a YouTube video, it's not easy. Noah Botterf, what's going on? Hey, good afternoon. How you doing tonight? I have an i5 12600K. Looking for your recommendations for a GPU that won't bottleneck. Too bad it's not too expensive. Won't bottleneck too bad. Not too expensive. Just put a budget. Yeah, if you're trying to do an upgrade, fill out the form that's linked in the description. It's the very first thing there. There is an upgrade option there. But know that you're going to need to give me the specs for your system so that I can have all the info available. Because you might need, I don't know what your power supply wattage is. So, like, I might recommend a power supply, a GPU that your power supply can't handle. Look at this. Look at this option right here. Tons of I/O, man. And this ASRock, it was, first off, it's a gorgeous motherboard. ASRock here, You're not looking at throwing a 9800X 3D in here, so you don't have the potential issues like you do there. I haven't heard of anything like that happening with Intel CPUs. Dual Thunderbolt 4, tons of USB Type A, 2.5 gig Ethernet, Wi-Fi 7 featured here, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 M.2 sockets. This is a sick motherboard. I want to check real quick. What is the deal on the? Let's see, on the PCIe slot. I might end up choosing this one for an upcoming build, actually. Graphics audio. Wait, what? Chipset, CPU. Oh, here we go. Okay, from the chipset, dual PCIe 4.0 x16 slots that both apparent PCIe Gen 2 and 3, which is fine because if you're doing anything like a capture card, they're usually PCIe Gen 2, but they're 4 lanes. This is actually perfect for me. I need to get this board for my new primary system. I'm not even kidding you. It has tons of I/O. You have plenty of slots for M.2, okay? You have 2 of them to the CPU, though that might end up doing things like, no, it doesn't look like there's any kind of... PCIe 1 supports riser cards to extend 1 okay, riser cards, that's different, okay. Let's see, 2 M.2 sockets off the chipset, 2 off the CPU, and as far as I can tell, because the secondary one from the CPU is not PCIe Gen 5, it will not interfere with your PCIe Gen 5 x16, your graphics card slot. You're not going to get half bandwidth there. This thing is awesome. Really, really nice. What a fantastic choice from Alexander PCs for this. Forget the ProArt board. This is what should be called ProArt right here for creators, okay? And then dump in 64 gigs of DDR5 6000 CL30, and bam, you have a full-on creation machine here. If go up to 265K for $26. Never mind what I said before. $26 to go up to a 20-core CPU. Why not? $2,700 for a full-on creator PC. You have 16 gigs of VRAM in that GPU, and it does really well when it comes to Premiere Pro. This thing is awesome. I love it. Good job, Alexander PCs, on this one. And it's only Intel, it seems. Yeah, it's only an Intel system. Spartan 2.0. This is also a Corsair system. Corsair cooling, Corsair RAM, Corsair fans, all of that. The streamer cables as an option, I guess. I don't see that as an option here. And let me see if it's listed. RGB lighting, with case fans, radar fans, CPU cooler, lighting exchangeable in color. I don't see the... All right. Alexander PCs, I need y'all to do something here because nowhere in here is the option for the streamer cables, the RGB cables, unless I'm missing it. And you don't have any statement here saying that the product they get may vary from the pictures. So why do you have streamer cables in your sort of pictured build when it's not an option in your options here, and it's not listed in the parts that come with it, and there's nothing saying that this doesn't represent the actual product they're going to get? You know better than that. So I'm a little disappointed. You see, guys, this is Alexander PCs, by and large, is the most well-regarded SI in the community. I'm still going to call him out when I see some BS. That's what I'm going to do because that's me. And TJ knows that. I think he likes that about me. Just finished filling it out. Sweet. There's not a section in the forum, though, for the fact that I'm already in the middle of a build. Well, Noah, get me your parts list. You can do it in PC Part Picker, and then... Well, you already submitted the form. You could have put that link in that open text piece at the end. Didn't do that. But you can't post links in chat. If you go to Twitch, though, you can whisper me the link, or you can link your PC part picker list in our Discord. That way I have something to work off of where I can just drop the new parts in there, share the link to you, and then we're done. There you go. Okay. So yeah, that bothers me about this system. It is one of those systems where you can get 14th gen Intel or Core Ultra 7, Core Ultra 200S, which is this Core Ultra 7 or Core Ultra 9. But this, again, if you like Corsair aesthetics, Corsair stuff, this is one to look at. It's gonna scale in price similarly, except you do pay the Corsair tax on some of this stuff. Just like with the Lee & Lee Vision one, where you're paying extra for the Lee & Lee case and the fans. So that's Corsair stuff. All right, now on to the Muse. So the Muse also looks like they're using stock pictures for it, not builds that they've done, which is not typical for Alexander PCs. This must be a new system, even though you see 2.0 right here. But it looks like they're going with Fantech stuff. So I want to double check this. If we go here and we look at chassis fans, you're looking at, let's see, Fantech's NV9 Mark II RGB, cool. However, added chassis fans, X8, PWM RGB APC 120mm, Alexander PCs fans, right? If we go and look at this is looking like it's a problem as they're sort of rushing to get the new systems out, which I understand. But if you're looking at this, you're going to think a very specific thing, that you're getting Fantech's awesome D30 ARGB fans. These are not cheap fans. They are 30 millimeters thick. Their airflow is ridiculous. Their performance is awesome. The RGB is sick. But what you're actually getting are in-house branded ARGB fans from Alexander PCs, from an ODM or a manufacturer that makes them for them. This picture does not reflect that. There's no note underneath or around the picture saying that it doesn't necessarily. That's the thing. Even if there's a note somewhere way down here, no. It needs to be right by the picture that it applies to. And I've said that to any SI where I say this is needed. It's rarely needed with Alexander PCs because generally the PC in the pictures is close to what you're going to get. I think they're going to have to start doing that, though, because they're showing off just one that they build, even if it has custom options like Lee & Lee streamer cables. And this is just a stock photo of the NV9 case. So that is a default. It needs to be in the photo itself. Just superimpose, hey, this is not necessarily the product you're going to get. Here's what the case looks like with a build in there. That, or they got to change it to where they're putting in D30 ARGB fans. TJ, I love those fans, and I would totally be down for that. You could even get the reverse flow ones for here, reverse flow ones for here, and standard flow for the AIO and rear exhaust. Summer was zesty tonight, my pants. Okay, well, like I said, put on the chill ones, and you should be good. Can you save lots of money? Oh, we already talked about that. Cheese, cheese, cheese. Most likely is a work in progress build. Once they are done, I suspect they will be updated. Probably. Wait, you guys are wearing pants? Actually, I'm not. I'm wearing shorts, so that's not pants. For high-end cost, doesn't matter. Falcon Northwest is a good choice. They are. There is quite a premium there, but like it's also they have a different experience to pretty much any other SI, particularly if you need to RMA your system. It's very unique to Falcon Northwest, where they pay for overnight shipping to them and back to you within the first year if you have any issues, and it's really, really cool. But there's a cost of entry there. Their service is amazing, their tech support's amazing, their builds are amazing, but also you need to like their cases. Here, there's a huge amount of different styles to choose from. Okay, you're getting G5 Fury Renegade storage here off the bat, but this is by default at its cheapest a $3,298 system, and it's still just a 1 terabyte thing of storage. What I would do, Alexander PCs, hear me out, and you got to know, I'm going to talk to TJ about this. Alexander PCs, hear me out. Give the option for the KC3000 and make the default a 2 terabyte. That's going to be probably close to the price of a 1 terabyte Gen 5 drive. It's nice to have that insanely fast storage, but most people, most of your buyers are never going to use those speeds. And they will, I guarantee you, utilize that capacity. This is not an actual formal guarantee, by the way. But you like, I don't see a reason to go above this Live Mixer Z890 from ASRock. It is such a solid board. But you can get the ProArt board, or you can get Asus's insane ROG Maximus Z890 Hero. I could talk a long time about that board. It has some really good perks. It has some stuff that I'm just like, about. But the Live Mixer board, hey, you could actually put in PCIe add-in cards without getting half bandwidth for your GPU. Now on a 5070 Ti, that's not going to make a huge difference, but on a 5090, which you have an option for here, it takes it from 3298 up to 5891. Yes, but yeah, you're going to see difference if you go down to X8. Perhaps it actually might not even be saturating 8 lanes of PCIe Gen 5, but I just don't really like that personally. That Now, if you go to a 5090, part of that upgrade charge is going up to a 1300 watt fully modular platinum power supply. Just to be clear, we go down to 5070 Ti, and you can choose between 1000 watts or 1300s. You can spend the extra $93 to get the same power supply as a 5090. That is up to you. Also for this, you can get the 8.8-inch screen mod. And guess what? That's one thing about the NV9, NV7 as well. And I think the NV5 has, no, the NV5 I don't think has as big of a forehead here, but it's a big old forehead. Look, I can talk about that, okay? My forehead basically goes back to the nape of my neck. I can talk about big foreheads. But this thing's got one, and putting an 8.8-inch screen there is a super cool mod. It's one reason I think it'd be cool to have Gigabyte motherboards as an option here, because the more recent mid to high end Gigabyte motherboards and mid range ones, yes, as well have this. It's an onboard HDMI that utilizes the built-in GPU in the CPU. Okay, if you get a 265K, that has it. 265KF, that does not have the integrated GPU, by the way. That's what that F means. But it utilizes that to have internal HDMI to any kind of internal screen that you're running for telemetry or just visuals or whatever. So you're not using up ports on your GPU for that. That's a really cool feature Gigabyte does that nobody else does yet. I think that's going to be copped, and I hope it is. I want to see that on more motherboards. Okay. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm not a fan of just putting up a case picture. I wish they had built a test system, taken pictures of it, and put that up. But what are you going to do? You could be wearing nothing and we would be none the wiser. That is correct. Enjoy that thought. For high-end cost, okay, every rose has its thorns. True. Hello, Braythorn, back in the hospital again. So for physical rehab. Gary, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that goes well, and I wish you the absolute best on that. Last one, the Legatus 2.0. This is the be-all, end-all flagship system for Alexander PCs. It is in the Lee & Lee 011 Evo RGB, which is a very popular case. I don't know what's going on with this like angle here. It looks like the fan is weird. It looks like they got photoshopped in there for some reason. Okay. And, I don't know. That might be my imagination. But yeah, now this actually has the LCD fans in here from Lee & Lee. I'm not a big fan of those. Haha. Pun intended. Not intended really, but it has to happen, I suppose. But there are people who really like those. You can put different graphics on here, stuff like that. Plus, you have the LCD on the AIO. This is the Hydro Shift from Lee & Lee, so you don't have these big old tubes going everywhere. This is their flagship, okay? It's going to have, on either Intel or AMD, only the top-of-the-line CPU option. If you're just getting the Legatus for gaming, I'm telling you, you might be making, because the 9950X3D is wasted on just gaming PC. You should be doing some productivity stuff as well. Anything that's going to use it, Blender, designing stuff in Blender, whatever. And of course, 285K is adding around $300 to the price of a 265K, and it's not going to improve your gaming performance much. Just a little bit. Now you have two really nice motherboard options: the Z890 Carbon Wi-Fi or the Maximus Z890 Hero. Only the cream of the crop here. Okay. And if you're already working with MSI, TJ, maybe think about the Ace from MSI. That thing's pretty sweet. Yeah, so let's see. So it starts at 64 gigs of RAM, or you can go up to 96 gigs as well. It starts with I get the Gen 5 drive here. That makes sense. But just thinking about the fact that it starts, that some people are going to spend, God, starting at 45, well, no, not 45. People are going to spend starting at $41.94, $4,200, and they're going to get a terabyte of storage. I cannot abide that. I cannot do it. So my recommendation here is to throw in a separate drive, like a 2 terabyte NV3, just additional storage. NV3 is fine for game storage. It'll work just fine. Because if you look at some higher end systems from certain other SIs, like Like if you look at Starforge on their higher end systems, you get more than one drive. There you go. I mean, both of these motherboards have copious amounts of M.2 sockets on it. So I'd go that route or offer as an option the KC3000. Just, I want to see a default 2 terabyte drive at this price point. That's insane. I mean, you got Skytech coming in at this price point with some stuff, but they put 4 terabyte Gen 4 drives in that. And again, people won't necessarily use up to 14,000 megabyte per second read speeds, but they will use capacity over time. So it's, yeah, I said that twice now. What's up, G-Code? How's it going? Yeah, I see this and I can't. I know it's Gen 5, man, but that's the problem with, like, this isn't even early adoption of Gen 5. It's been out for, like, I think over a year now with very, very few options at the very beginning, but we're still not at the point where it's worth the price yet in IMO for most people. But still, beautiful system. Absolutely top of the line. And yeah, the added fans, you're getting the 3 reverse LCD Lee & Lee fans. Then you get 3 reverse, just standard reverse blade fans for the bottom, and then 1 standard fan for the back, and then you get the ones on the AIO. Putting only these 3 with the LCDs on them, setting it up that way is what makes absolute sense to me. If I'm setting up a build, I'm only putting the LCD fans in here where it's actually really visible. Perhaps 1 in the back, maybe. But generally, these 3 are the ones that are going to be the most visible. So anyway, there you go. Some big changes from Alexander PCs on all of their builds. Some of them, my notes in general are going to be phase out old 12th and 13th gen Intel if you can get some of those. These are the most entry-level PCs for the most part, and they might just be working through the stock that they have already. But I was told that this was just everything, getting everything up to date, everything being refreshed. So I guess I was just surprised by that. And on some of those, it's like, get that build done, get those pictures up there as a priority, because otherwise you are false advertising a couple things, like the streamer cables on that one PC. That's not a new PC spec for you guys, but there's no option for that unless people email you. And that's something to remember. If you're going to go through it with Alexander PC or most boutique builders, you can generally speak directly to them and get custom stuff done for your builds. So that's something that you can keep in mind. It's just for the average buyer who's just coming through, wants to pick something up, maybe a previous customer, they might not understand that they're not getting those. So food for thought. Okay. I agree that it's too much money for only 1 terabyte of storage. It is PCIe Gen 5 storage G-code, but yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I keep forgetting to do this. 1 second. Let's get the music back on. Give me 1 second, and then FGN, we're gonna do your build. Dust Fantasy, what's going on? I whispered my parts list for my GPU question on YouTube. MBO Dorf on YouTube. Okay, it shows Noah Badorf on your name there, but okay. Oh, I missed a chat earlier. Sanka Ray, what's going on? Please help me to make decisions. I found a deal. Is it worth it? Please fill out the form linked in the description. We go by order of people submitting that form. So we have here, take a look. We're helping out the Force Gaming Network right now. Then Dragonfire, are you still here? And then you, Dust Fantasy. We'll help you out after that. They built mine and they did work with me on things I wanted to change. TJ was awesome. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Even for Gen 5 storage, it's still too much for 1 terabyte. I know. It should be 2 terabytes minimum. At that point, just paying the extra for the 2 terabytes, how much was it? It's a price. If you're looking at a price point of over $4,000, then $129 to have an adequate amount of storage is not a lot of money. That's a drop in the bucket. It should be 2 terabyte minimum. Now, there are some people who want to take their own storage over from a previous system. But what maybe they could do a default thing where this is set to default and they can move down to 1 terabyte if they know they have their own storage to move over and they just want a smaller boot drive. Anyways, so FGN, you here? Force Gaming Network. I know I took forever with that. I do apologize. Dragonfire, let me know if you're still here. I know I took forever with that. I do apologize. Actually, I shouldn't mark that until they say they're here. And Dust X Fantasy, I'll mark you down as being here as well. Araxinus, what's going on? Thank you for saying hi, and thank you for the lurk. Appreciate that. Dragonfire is indeed here. Thank you. All right, FGN. I'm going to go back up to your chats earlier. Actually, let me see. I'm going to check chat. Yes, it says you're still here. Okay. As far as... let me see. Don't worry about it. Okay. The use case is for Call of Duty basic internet browsing. Me and Mom want to play COD together. Maybe add Minecraft in the mix. Looking to buy this by the end of the month. So as PC is for your mom. Okay. The reason that was posted, I'm just waiting for a confirmation that that Force Gaming Network is still here. Vibing and gaming, nice. Enjoy your game sesh. Rather get a Gen 4 storage and have it be 2 or 4 terabytes. Yeah, I think that should be an option. It's not less. Now, here's the thing. If you want that, you can always just send an email and they'll probably change it out for you. So the reason I was bringing that up was because, well, if you look on the form, way here at the bottom, the last thing is this. It says, are you interested in getting your PC from a specific company? If so, please list below. And then in bold, in italics, and underlined, it says, using the text field to enter anything other than a company name invalidates your form submission. And what we still get is people who will do this. This is a PC from my mother, so I don't really care. I really don't care. I build my own rigs, just looking for advice. Nothing too expensive. Prob won't be much played on this thing except Call of Duty. What's up, Dark Force? How's it going? Thank you for the lurk. Now, there are times where someone's going to do an upgrade thing, and I'll tell them, hey, put the link in that text spot there. That if I tell you to do it,
it's fine if you're breaking that rule, but I didn't do that here. And the reason I say that is this could just have been said in chat, and the proof of that is that it was said in chat. So yeah, it just annoys me, I guess. Damn, we're doing 3 parts lists tonight. Now, I know at least one of these was an upgrade, and I want to point out that that's when you choose upgrade. There is a choice just for upgrade. Just saying. I'm just saying. Force Gaming Network, please respond. Please let me know you're here so we can get going. And I'm all like, hurry up. No, and it took forever. I know. I'm sorry. All I'm looking for is a GPU recommendation for my build, not anything else to save time. Dragonfire, are you cool if I just it's just a GPU recommendation? And I believe that they already messaged me their... Wait. Hold on. I don't see that whisper. I don't see the link sent to me, the parts list. It's not there. You sent it through Twitch Whispers, right? Oh, here. This should make it easier. Here you go. Just click my name, click Whisper, and send it there. Just copy paste it there. All right. Well, okay. Here's what we'll do then. While you're doing that, I'll go ahead and help out Dragonfire. We'll do Dragonfire's build, and then we'll take care of your GPU recommendation. Although gaming graphic design. Miami, Florida Micro Center. Do they have GPUs right now? Most of them do now. What's the actual... So you chose 500 to 1,000. What's the actual max budget for your GPU? Okay, there we go. Now I saw it. Now I saw the... You sent. It does show that you sent it twice. I just didn't see your chat there for a while. Remember when I was like, I need to know what wattage your power supply is? You did not include that. You chose to only do 4 parts. Graphic design is just a hobby. My wife uses it for some times. Okay. 500 for the GPU. That's tough. GPUs are all inflated right now in price. Even at Micro Center. I've seen them have 4090s for $3,000 there. So we'll have to see how that does. Please give me your power supply wattage. At this point, I am pleading with you to give me the information I asked for, because that's critical for your GPU. But at $500, it's probably not going to be super power hungry, but we do need to know. 750 watts. Got it. Got it. It's the main thing I needed to know. I guess I could have just asked that. AC Stuff Gaming Z690, 12600KF. And that's running on this small cooler, huh? Okay. How are your CPU temps, out of curiosity? Video card. Here, let's actually just do this. 400 to 500 bucks. 16 gig 5060 Ti. For 500? I don't think so. Yeah, there's other ones that are cheaper. And what resolution? You gave me at 1080p. Yeah. No problem. Yeah, it's funny because there's so much negativity around NVIDIA right now. It's almost like reviewers forgot to actually tell you it's actually pretty solid if you get the 16 gig card. And it is. Okay, that's it. That's all of them. All right. Well, there's lowest price is a 5060 Ti. Lowest price 5060 Ti is $449 for a 2-fan one. The cheapest triple fan option is $20 more for $469.99 for this Gigabyte 5060 Ti. Yada yada yada. That's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I would say probably the only time I give members of chat any crap is whenever stuff like that happens. In filling out forms and things like that. That is a really nice 9060 XT for the price. But I would say with the graphic design thing in mind, I would still probably go NVIDIA. Wait, did I change? I didn't change the location. What location are we talking about real quick? Parkville, Maryland. That's my bad. That's my bad. This is a Rockville, Maryland location. Wrong location. Oh, wait, I looked at the wrong one. Miami. My bad. I looked at the wrong person because I had something selected here. It is Miami. You are correct. Okay. Miami. That's not even close to Parkville. Bam. All right. Cool. Video card, 400 to 500. 12 options here, and sort by lowest price. Okay. So you can get this one for $449. I would probably... No, yeah, they're all 2-fan versions, except for this PNY version that's full-on $50 more. Yeah, go for this right here. They have 4 of these in stock, but basically, grab yourself a 5060 Ti, the cheapest one they have in stock. Just in case, I will go ahead and send you this one. I hate when it has those little add-on things to it. That should take us to this. Okay, there we go. There you go. Parkville was other. Yeah, I got it. That's the one right there. Grab that. Do you know when the 5050 is coming out or expected release? No. And I don't have high hopes for it, unfortunately. But we'll see how it goes. John, I would say that if there's anything that Alexander PCs they're not sketchy. I think that they were opting for the highest performance they could get, thinking that that's what that kind of buyer is going to want. But I can tell you, they're not going to care much about read and write speeds after downloading a few games and seeing like, wow, this thing is fast and that's great, but it ain't that useful because I don't have any space in it. Yeah, there you go. All right, Dragonfire. Sorry, I skipped the line there. You know, y'all know I never do that, but it's just a GPU recommendation. Dragonfire, you did say you're here, so we're going to go ahead and do yours now. Now we're going to Parkville, Maryland. We're doing a parts list. What I need to know from you is I need to know what the actual maximum amount of money dollars that you can spend on your PC is. And just the PC itself, not the monitor, not keyboard, not mouse, no tax included with that, and a solid number, not a range. What the maximum number is, no changing this later. So don't think to yourself, oh, I can just raise it a couple $100 if I want it to be a little faster. No. Whatever that maximum amount is right now. 1600, not including case or fans. Already have one picked out. Lian Lu 011D Evo RGB. Okay, you know that comes with no fans, right? Also, that's not really usually an option. But I'll try to think around that. Now, you're doing a parts list, so you're not going to pay a build fee. You know what? Actually, this is fine, because I can totally do it like that. Not a problem. We can do it that way. Okay. All right. Sure. Cool. Pro gaming / esports, $1,600. I think we can do that. What's up, AJ? How's it going? So guess what common problem finally happened to me? Go for it. What is it? What happened? What's up, Big Spender? How's it going? I will do that posture check. The username checks out. Look at you dropping those 200 channel points. Intel degradation went from fully functional to dead instantly. Wow. And that's on the latest microcode? You guys see why I'm so hesitant to recommend that? I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. Okay, so for an esports competitive gaming machine, we can totally go with what resolution did you pick? You picked 1080p. Okay. Now, because we're at Micro Center, we might have a very specific option that I have in mind here. 7600X3D, but I want to see if they have a bundle with that. There is not yet a 9600X CD 3D. Not yet a 9600X 3D, unfortunately. So 7600X 3D. Let's just try to find a bundle with that. What color did you want for the build? You want to do it in, well, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm not choosing the case, but yeah, in black. Okay. I've seen one before. It's just not common at all. There it is. It's still $419, but 7600X3D, B650-A, 32 gig DDR5, 6000. There you go. And there's one in black as well for less with the B650E Tough. So for $20, you can get a Strix motherboard rather than a Tough motherboard. But it's not going to completely match the aesthetic, but it's cool because it's mostly a black motherboard with a lot of big silver accents on it. I'm not 100% sure if I was on the latest microcode, but since day one, I ran an actual Intel baseline. Well, the Intel baseline was still causing issues. Like, you actually had to undervolt it and do all these different things and turn off this and turn off that. So, yeah, I'm surprised. I'm genuinely shocked that you did not make sure you were on the latest microcode, knowing what was going on. Genuinely shocked. So let me ask you, Dragonfire, do you want the slightly higher end motherboard with the 7600X 3D? Or do you want the black matching motherboard that'll match a black build? I don't know if there's a big difference in power delivery between the Tough and the Strix, but I imagine there's a little bit of a difference. Maybe a couple more phases. It looks like it is more comprehensive cooling on the VRMs at the very least, but probably not something you'll ever notice. It could have more storage options. We can compare these two. If there's something we have right now, it is time, because we have one other person to help out, and that's Force Gaming Network. Want to help them, but they did not sound off earlier, so not sure what to do about that. Interesting. Okay. We're just going to compare these two real quick. Yeah. PowerPoint presentation. I get it. I don't care. 1, 2, 3. 3 M.2 sockets there. Not hugely important for a just solid gaming machine, but curious, just curious. I like that they put the gallery right here. I/O is what you would expect from ASUS at this price point. Let's see here. What do we got on this one? Kind of equivalent. Man, ASUS does not have... I mean, actually, no, this is better. Oh, no, it's about the same. They just don't have an appreciation for I/O. They don't. And it's like, come on, man. Y'all have to have some enthusiasts over there that are like, more USB, please. This one does have fewer, faster ports, but I don't know, whatever. Wi-Fi 6E on this one, and this one is Wi-Fi 6E as well. And the Strix should have 1, 2, perhaps 3, 4. Let me see how many M.2 it says in the specifications. Tech specs, storage, 3 M.2 for both. So not a huge difference. What about power delivery? Just go to the features. Should be listed here somewhere. Here we go. 12 plus 2. And this one is... Power design, 8 plus 2. Yeah, I'd like to recommend the Strix for you. Not that you need a ton of power for a 7600X. Okay, you said higher end? Got it. Cool. One additional Type-C, which is saving my butt on my laptop right now. Well, laptops are vastly different. I mean, you can't just add in a PCIe card for that. Skeeter, have a good night, buddy. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, for me, AJ, every time a new BIOS would come out from ASUS, I was installing that thing like right away, which can be a little risky sometimes, but no, I was on it. Okay, we're at 419. There you go. 7600X 3D for 1080p game. I mean, it's dope. It is really, really good for 1080p high refresh rate. It's really good. If we end up with extra left over after we get the video card, which we're looking at now, I will consider upping that, but we'll see. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I wasn't looking at anything too crazy anyway. At 1600, I don't think we can go with something like I think a 9070 or 9070 XT is going to be the way to go here, if we can manage it at a reasonable price, and if they have it, which I don't think they have it actually. They don't. They don't have that. Okay. I mean, they have 7900 XTs. Those are pretty rad. Still. Yeah, it looks like this particular location not doing super great on GPUs, honestly. I wonder if it's a hold on. Oh, look, a bunch of them just showed up. You know why? Because some of these are PCIe Gen 5, and that's a PCIe Gen 4 motherboard. Something like a 9070 XT probably isn't going to saturate even PCIe Gen 4. How many freaking listings for 5090s that? Oh my God. They actually have a ton of 5090s in stock. That's crazy. I'm happy to see that. I want those to rot on the shelves. Because, gamers, just someone who's just gaming should not be spending $3,000 on a GPU at all. These are going to be there, I hope, forever. 4090s at $2,500 for a basic PNY 4090. Get the hell out of here, man. No. Just no. I'm going to have to remember that, though. If I'm looking at a bundle that has a last-gen motherboard that's just fine for the CPU, I have to remember to turn off the compatibility filter, or it's going to look like there's nothing in stock that's new. Let's say 500 to 750 and maybe 750, 2000. That's going to take up this whole page. But no, 9070 XTs are showing up here. They should be much cheaper than this, but what are you going to do? Let me ask you this, Dragonfire. What games are you going to be competing in? Yeah, AJ. That card actually was listed at $3,000 for a while. I kid you not. Now, Micro Center is the end of the supply chain, right? So, like, I know some distributors were price gouging to their customers. I know that for a fact. So, who knows where that started? Fortnite mainly. Okay. Okay, I got worried because I looked up 9070 XT Fortnite and it came up with a post that someone put up that they were getting all these problems with Fortnite. It turned out to be their mouse polling that was the problem. So that's nice. Also, old drivers. Someone else had problems with their drivers because they didn't uninstall old drivers. Always use DDU to uninstall old drivers whenever you're putting in a new GPU. Just do that. DDU. With a strong CPU, up to 300 to 400 plus FPS. The Prime 9070 XT looks good. It does. It's a gorgeous card. It's just, man, the pricing. I do like the Steel Legend. It is really nice looking. I think that the Steel Legend card is the cheapest 9070 XT, believe it or not. Not often that you'll see that the white version of a card is the cheapest. It's $20 difference. Yeah, I like the Prime card. I would go for that one. If the rumors of 9080 XT are true, I hope Power Cuddle does a Liquid Devil. I think they might. I just don't see them doing that. Let's see if we can fit this in the budget. Because we have to do everything else. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. We have our primary core, we have our core components done. You're going to need storage. Let's see if we can do a 2 terabyte Performance Plus for $129. You're going to need a good power supply. 850 minimum is what I would go, but if we can do a little more, we will. Now, I know you're going with the Lian Li 011 Evo RGB. So for the power supply, I'd like to go with the Lian Li power supply. It is well priced. They're well reviewed. The actual cables are really, really nice. And the 1000 watt comes in at 164. They're 80 plus gold. They have this setup where all of your power supply connectors on the power, they're facing outward in a dual chamber case like the O11 Evo RGB. It is designed to be put in a case like that. So I'd like to go that route. If you want to go save yourself about $55, you can go for the 850 watt. 1000 watts is nice for future potential upgrades. So I'm throwing it in there. I just don't know if we'll be able to swing this. We'll see what we can do. If you're mostly playing Fortnite, though, I can probably go down to a 1 terabyte drive and you'll never notice. If that's like all you're doing, if this is for competitive Fortnite gameplay, you can start with a 1 terabyte and add more as you go because you're building this thing. You're not going to be uncomfortable adding storage. Literally the easiest upgrade you can make. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change that now just to give us more for the CPU cooler. And if anything, you can just instead buy a 2 terabyte. But I do recommend this drive. I really like the Inland Performance Plus. It's tried and tested. I've run multiple of these myself in my own systems, and they're awesome. And the price is really good. Really fast, very reliable. Long lifespan. 9090 XC with literally double the die size. Why not just dual GPU, just dual chip? Let's go. The Edge PSU is amazing. It is, and the price is really good. I want to just like buy one and put it in builds. Like I don't work directly with Lee and Lee on anything. But yeah, let's see. What am I doing? Cooling. So the one reason I'm actually concerned about the budget is because I need to know. Dragonfire, you want to do the Lee and Lee case. Are you trying to get all Lee and Lee fans as well? Because you know the cost of those, right? They get very expensive. Arctic 3 is an yeah, they've had that since launch. I'm just waiting for an answer from Dragonfire. That's the thing about these. It is a back and forth. And I know if you're watching on mobile, that can be hard to keep up with. But if you choose not to go with Lee and Lee fans, you can save probably hundreds of dollars on this. Let me check something. Why don't they carry Lee? Oh, they do. But they don't have the ARGB Arctic fans. What did you say for RGB? Let me see. Yes, and a lot of it. Right. So, okay. You know, some of your money goes towards that, meaning less performance, and that's fine. But, you know, that goes. Already have the fans and cooler AIO picked. Not included in the budget. Okay. So you said, back when you first started, first started on this, you said, the budget's for everything but the case and fans because I already picked the case. I didn't know if you'd already picked the fans. So we'll ignore that then. That means that we can put you back on 2 terabytes of storage. We can bump up your bundle to the 8-core. So the 7800X3D or 9800X3D. There is an improvement at 1080p doing that. Let's see. So let's change this to the 2 terabyte version right there. There you go. The thing is, if you get close to capacity for your M.2, your boot drive, you will experience performance issues. I am removing that potential issue right off the bat. So let's go back here. We'll change this up. So this is the lowest price one with the 7800X3D. Same one here, but with the motherboard we were looking at right there. Okay. And the... Hold on, let me do this. There, all AMD. There we go. And the only other thing I would look at is going from a... Man, but that's actually somewhat of a solid price on that 9070 XT, but you are close to being able to get a 5070 Ti instead. So let's see if we can swing that. Why don't we do a 7800X3D with the ROG Strix board? And the reason I'm thinking about that is because if you go with a 9800X3D and a similar board like this one here, has the B650-E tough gaming Wi-Fi motherboard, are you comfortable updating the BIOS on that motherboard? Because you'll likely have to in order for that CPU to work with that motherboard, and you should have a BIOS flashback button on BIOS flashback button on there, so you can just do it without the CPU installed, and it shouldn't be a problem. Oh, did anybody else notice Micro Center has Threadripper bundled for 3K? Yes, I did notice that. Yeah, they have one of them. So in terms of gaming performance, there's a little bit to be gained from the 9800X3D over 7000X3D, but really the improvements were in the fact that you can overclock it if you're into that, and the temps are better. But with adequate cooling, which you should have, you're putting a 360 millimeter cooler in here, you shouldn't have to worry about that with the 7800X3D. It's just the lowest price setup that has a 9800X3D and a modern motherboard is $930 versus this one that is $520. No, $649. If you're comfortable doing the BIOS update, I'll do this one here. And you can update your BIOS with no RAM in the system, no CPU in the system, or even if it's not booting properly and it's turned off, that's when you kind of start the process. I might have to fill out the PC Matchmaker form for a sanity check depending on how this RMA goes. Sure. What's up, Pew Pew? How's it going? Welcome. Would be sweet if they do release a 9080 XT or 9090 XT. I can see maybe a 9080 XT. The problem is I'd like them to get a handle on stock and pricing for the 9070 XTs first and 9070s. They did not do well with that. Oh, this brought up to 1646. That's over budget. It was that big of a difference in price? I guess so. That's 649. Hold on. Oh, I'm going to do this. It's going to... Oh, no, I did have that set right. Okay. Yeah, 419. And it went up by $200. So you have the 7800X3D right here. There you go. 529. This should be within budget. So that's it with the 7800X3D. If you want to upgrade from that, yeah, you're getting that 7800X3D for $267.73. That's very good. That's very good. That thing came out costing, I think, $450. This is $267. I'm kind of nervous to update BIOS. Apocalyptic, as long as you run an uninterruptible power supply or UPS, you're safe to do it. If you're not running that, don't do it during a thunderstorm, is all I can say. And make sure you paid your electric bill. Now, I could bring it down to the 1 terabyte of storage, as long as, you can probably just add more yourself later, and then we do 9800X3D. Basically what AJ was saying. And that brings it to 1607. 1607. We can also bring the power supply down to 850 watts. The thing is, if the next if you want to upgrade your GPU whenever the next generation comes out, although I do generally recommend skipping a generation if you try to update, even updating frequently, upgrading frequently, you should be skipping a generation, okay? At the very least. We don't know what the power requirements are going to be. It could be that any mid-range GPU is going to require 1,000 watts. Who knows? Efficiency does not seem to be the priority in that regard. But here we're $7.96 over budget. But I can drop this down to the 850 watt, and that will take off $55 from the price. Meaning we can put you back at the 2 terabyte drive, or I really don't think we can do anything. Let's see what the cheapest 5070 Ti is. No compatibility filter. No. Oh, they only have one for $899. And your current GPU is $719. So it's $180 more. We can't fit that in there. And your CPU is important. So it's I'm not gonna say it's equally important, but it's quite important for high performance 1080p. 9800X3D is very good, I heard. Well, yeah, so is the 7800X3D and the 7600X3D. Anything 3D V-Cache at 1080p is very good. And that's what they're playing. That's why I'm looking at this 1080p. So yeah. Looks like Pew Pew filled out a form here. Okay, I'll say this is a good list if you agree. Now, one thing also to look for, Dragonfire, is when you go to buy all your parts, see if they have any open box on any of the parts that we're looking at here, or any deals that were not online for any of the parts that we listed, if it's a different brand or whatever. But as long as it's this 9070 XT has a better price, or this 5070 Ti is open box, and it's the same price as this $720 9070 XT Prime Asus card. So, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty annoying to replace a power supply, for sure. X3D is the only thing I recommend if the budget allows. It's that damn good. AJ, the thing is, there's a lot of people who are coming in for 1440p and 4K, and X3D at anything higher than 1080p doesn't mean a damn thing. It's to the point where I'm really sick of my fellow reviewers just completely poo-pooing on the 265K, which is an amazing CPU at the current price. And for anything 1440p or higher, it's who cares what CPU you have? It does almost nothing. Spend those hundreds of dollars that you save not getting a 9800X3D and instead getting a 265K, you will save hundreds of dollars. Put that into your GPU. It will actually then make a difference at higher resolutions. That's good. All right, there's your link. You got it. I need you to either add this to cart or go here and save this build. It will prompt you to it'll prompt you to either log into your Micro Center account or create one. If you're already logged in, it'll just save the build. Because if I do another Micro Center build, this is getting erased. And I'm apparently exclusively doing Micro Center builds right now. I'm going to call out again for, let me see if they're here. The Force Gaming Network for Nerds is lurking in YouTube chat. The Force. The Force Gaming Network for Nerds. It's your turn. Where you be? I'm sorry I took so long. Is there a spreadsheet showing the queue? Yeah, I just looked at it a second ago. It's right here. You want the buzzer? Robert, I don't want to abuse that. That's for when someone is just completely wrong about something. And it's not wrong to walk away from your PC now and then. Hold on, how about... Hold up, I can turn that up a little bit. The Force Gaming Network for Nerds, where did you go? I know you're lurking and I appreciate the lurk, but I want to help you. Well, we can help them later if they come back. I guess we can move on then. I know I didn't miss them saying anything. Michelle, I missed you earlier saying one day I hope they create an ITX board that supports 4 RAM sticks. I mean, any boards moving forward are going to be DDR4, and that's still not ideal to have 4 sticks. So, yeah, the best thing to do is just to get the best 2-stick kit that you can that matches the capacity and speeds that you need. All right, pew pew. Let me go over one thing with you real quick while we're waiting to see if the Force Gaming Network for Nerds responds. So you're doing a system. You want to do a system with Micro Center and have them build it for you. Budget range is $1,000 to $1,500. All right. I don't think I need to explain to you why put on your fast pants. That doesn't work for me. But that actually contains hate speech, which is why I'm glad Automod caught it. But that's the third one. So that's the third thing that I'm just going to go ahead and I got to ban you. Thanks for hanging out, though. Appreciate it. Just get it together, buddy. Lost service on mobile, but I got it saved. Good. All right, good. Thanks for letting me know. It takes work to get 4 sticks working on DDR5. I've done it, but not ideal. I do not know. I like the 9700X for the price and performance. I think it outperforms 7800X 3D. It doesn't outperform the 7800X 3D at 1080p, Berkey. It doesn't. Anything X3D when it's 1080p resolution and pretty much every gaming scenario is at the top of the list. Like they occupy the top of the list. 9700X is going to outperform the 7800 X3D in Photoshop, but that's about it. Now, if you go to 1440p or higher, it does not matter. Don't waste your money. Okay. All right. Hang on. There you are. Okay. FGN. You're here. We'll help you out. Okay. Now, let's do yours. What is your actual maximum budget for your system? Just a solid number. You've heard me talk about this a million times. So just like whatever the maximum number is. You might have said so already, but you know. Pew Pew, you will be after that. We are coming to the end of the stream, but I should be able to help both of y'all. Okay. I thought you had said you're not going to do these tonight. No. I was just doing a thing where we were going over the system refreshes at Alexander PCs. I was watching a YouTube video that was showing an upcoming Intel CPU with their version of X3D, pretty much. Yeah. Well, I mean, they'd be fools not to do something like that. 850. Okay. And look at that. We're already doing another Micro Center build. Thank you for letting me know that you saved your build, Dragonfire. Appreciate that, because I'm clearing it out now. Should be interesting indeed. I hope they just skip to putting the whatever they call their 3D cache underneath the actual silicon instead of on top of it. Okay, so we don't need to go crazy with this. It can basically be lowest price bundle here. I don't like the thought of putting a single stick of RAM in there. It's so stupid that they even have this. But also, you know, MATX. Let's see. It starts at 240. We're looking at about $100 difference here. So you have full ATX motherboard and dual sticks of RAM. Yeah, resolution means a lot when it comes to figuring out what parts work best, which is why it's one of the first questions on the forum. All right, Frilo, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Intel may put it next to the cores. They had blank tiles on Ultra 200. So the thing is, the whole point of 3D cache is that it's just like direct to the CCD, whether it's on top of it or below it. So I don't see that working. It also gives much more lateral space. So, or, you know, flat space for it. So much room for activities that way. Okay, so what I might do here, FGN, just to get the build going, I might choose one of these right here, and later on just get an identical stick of RAM and add that in. An identical one, same SKU, everything, okay? Yeah, it's just, you're not going to find things that a few generations old in these bundles, which can save you a bundle. So I like that it's $10 more to go from a 7600X to a 9600X. More efficient, runs cooler. Little performance bump. Got a lot of fun troubleshooting and testing PC received where it's just displaying an image after a customer complained the GPU died. Turned out it was just a RAM stick that got loose during shipping. Alucard, I will say this. That means that maybe something to add to your remote troubleshooting steps in that case. Yeah, it does. Well, okay, so what you'll do is build a system like this, and then later on, just get another RAM stick and just turn off the system, pop that thing in there, turn it on, set up your XMP, and you're good to go. But we have CPU, motherboard, and RAM for $269, and we can look at an MATX case, so it's not a really huge case, which is nice. So let's see. So it's easier to not have it on the floor if you don't have a huge case. Video card is going to be critical here. So let's see what we can do for. Let's see what they got for $300 to $400. $30, $60, $50. Okay, let's turn off the compatibility. I know that's an issue. Yep. $300 to $400. There we go. We have a lot more options now, including a 9060 XT. That's cool. That's a little bit. Wait, what? No, 9060 XT, 16 gig. Yes. What color did we want the system to be? In black. Look, guys, you see why I'm disappointed here? I like doing white builds, and it's just like black build, black build, black build, black build, white, black, 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 white. It's mostly black builds. They make me sad. Man, I want this thing for my next build. It's so nice. Have you checked this thing out yet? The Z890 live mixer, AJ? So freaking good. Sorry, no. The thing is, a lot of people also just go that route, and that's fine. A 9060 XT would be boss in this thing, but you also have the 8 gig 5060 Ti's. No, thank you. But that would be a bit too much of the budget, I think. For a budget, maybe. For NVIDIA not sending out any 5060 Ti 8 gigs for review, they sure do make a lot of them through their AIBs. Or AIB partners. I mean, 7600 XT will also do the job. Let's try it with this, though. 9060 XT, 16 gig, 389. We're going to try to build it around this. Oh, they have the Hellhound, 16 gig. For 3. Oh, wait. It's not an order of price. Okay. There we go. Okay. 9060 XT, 16 gig, 389, 389, 389. We'll go with a triple fan solution, perhaps. I was redoing our stream PCs, and I'm planning to use that C890 live mixer. Just did a different stream build with a 9950X and our favorite Mobo. Asus Prime for $350, or was that not in stock? What? They have the Prime 5060 Ti 8 gig. No, thanks. And they have another one. What's the deal? Why are there two of them? Oh. Yeah, no kidding. They have one in stock. All right, we're going to try it. Now, FGN, keep this in mind. They might not have this card, and if that's the case, it'll be like $20, $30 more for that, okay? Good call, though. This is going to be real lean, though. We got to be real careful. Like, I don't want to put less than a terabyte of storage, but what was specifically stated was Call of Duty. No, you can't put 512 with Call of Duty. Just downloading an update is going to tank your system. What we might do, though, is go a little slower than the Performance Plus. I like how capacity is the last option. It's clearly the most important thing. See, there's not a big price difference. And these are considerably slower. All right. Performance Plus it is. The dedicated COD SSDs, yeah. Thanks again for helping me out, man. Mom will be happy. This is a Christmas present. Very cool Christmas present. The thing is, Christmas is half a year away. Why are we doing this right now? Like, that would give you time to like save up a little more. So I guess I'm just going to give you this build, and you can upgrade it on a couple little things here and there if you decide to. Let's look at MATX cases. Something with fans included. Lenkel 205M mesh is pretty nice. $75 with fans included. You could go with the Q300L and just do your own fans. It comes with an exhaust fan only. And that is $40. It's $25 cheaper. $35 cheaper, rather. Been working on one for my work's Christmas party for months. I just need my marketing team to make some company-themed designs to get printed on it. That'd be cool. New form category. Are you going to play Call of Duty? Yeah. Yeah, I would say this one right here. Be fine. Just fans included. Now, this CPU does not come with a cooler, but the 90s... Oh, does it? I don't know. Heatsink not included. So you need a cheap cooler on there. It really does not need to do much. We still need a power supply and a CPU cooler. I don't know that we can do this for $850, but you have time to just save a little more. Buy some of the parts here and there, do whatever. I still do recommend that you get an additional RAM stick down the line as well. But we really don't need a lot of wattage here. And it doesn't let me change the wattage. Oh, it does. I had turned off compatibility filter. Okay, so... $450 watt, 500 watt is the minimum recommendation for power supply. We can go 650, 750. Do you want to go a little higher than that? I would say 750 is a nice number for a PC like this, and you can generally get them for a solid price. Unfortunately, Robert, you got to remember that Twitch chat cannot see your responses. Oh, Alucard's here. Never mind. Alucard is in YouTube chat. Should be more the idea of what games you're going to play. Robert, fix it. All of them, right? Blow on it every few seconds. It'll stay cool. Or cook your bacon on it. There you go. I think the Combat FG was pretty well rated, but also so was this. Let's go lowest price and move up from there. I don't think the bronze MSI power supplies did very well rating-wise. The price is nice, though. MAG, ABN, PCIe 5, C rating. Not great, but for a budget system, pretty standard. Claims sleeve bearing unknown quality fan. Does not claim ATX 3.0 compliance. Not any major issues with that. And that one is $75. No. It's $85. I wonder if Power Spec is on this list. Oh, it's one word. Power Spec. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. That's got to be careful with these. Multiple E ratings. That is bad. Okay. Which ones are we looking at here? 80 plus bronze, 80 plus bronze. That's not telling me a whole lot. That's probably what that BF is. Okay. Never mind. That's why you don't skimp on the power supply. I could do this, though. C rating is fine. You know, I got it eventually, guys. What's up, Texas Haas? How's it going? Welcome. I can get these parts now and more later. I just want a guideline I could work with. Thanks a lot for the help. No problem. Man, 9600X for $73 is crazy. That's where most of your savings are. You can run a $20 cooler, tower cooler on there for a 9600X. It should be fine. 20 or $30. Wait, what are we at? 852. So we're just going to be a little bit over on budget. We're going to be a little bit over. You can look at that $22 over as not getting an E-rated power supply. There you go. I like the price, man. I think it's well worth going to Micro Center and grabbing for sure. A lot cheaper than my PC, but from 1080p, I think should be more than happy. Now, just to be clear, this is you building it because you selected parts lists, okay? Right there. So this is you building it. If you want them to build it, it is $250. That is kind of crazy for an $850 budget. Okay, so I'm gonna recommend you do it that way, and not getting a little fire hazard for a PSU. Yeah, glad to hear that, Haas. You got it. What I like about this versus a PSU cultist tier list is that you can scroll to the right and see why they rated it what they rated it. It is nice to be able to do that. I build my own rigs. Cool, there you go. Only suggestion is just to upgrade the RAM to 32 gigs to be better safe than sorry. Yeah, I mean, it depends. If the RAM stick is like $40, you're still saving money getting this bundle. Oh, the RAM stick looks like it's $50. Well, you're still saving like $25 getting this bundle. So, sure. And you have the appropriate MATX case for this. You can add a couple fans to that. If you want to just have them be performance oriented, just add a rear exhaust, maybe just an Arctic P12 or something. Yeah. It does get updated more often. It had been a while since PSUC lists had been updated. So there's your list. Now I need you to save that build. You hear me talk about this before. You know how to do it. just save the build right there to your Micro Center account. I imagine you probably already have one. If you don't, you can create one pretty quickly. Because my next build, my last one, is also Micro Center. So that means I'm going to be erasing this build. Let me know once you have it saved so I can move on. Just making sure, Pew Pew, are you still here? Saved? Awesome. Thank you. Oh yeah, yeah. No, the 9060 XT beats out the 7700 XT a little bit, which is really nice. I mean that, and some more modern features on it as well. So it's a little bit updated on some things. Plus 16 gigs VRAM is nice. Not necessary here, but nice. Am I able to go through the form and save my progress? No big deal if not. I don't think so, AJ. Perhaps. I mean, you can just copy paste it into a Google Doc or something if you want to. I am always a little surprised because I know you're quite knowledgeable. So I'm always surprised when someone who's quite knowledgeable. I mean, I see Alucard put things in the submit for the form too, but also it might just be like the experience of us just discussing it back and forth. Trey's blows with the 7700 XT, but the extra VRAM and FSR4 will help a bit more for that. True. I mean, FSR4 is a little bit more limited at 1080p, but I mean, it can go down. It can still go down 720p and upscale, which can make a difference, especially when you have a decent CPU. And the 9600X is quite nice for this kind of build. Pew Pew, just checking if you're still here. Also, Frowler, I know you said that you're lurking. I don't know if I said goodbye to you, but thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Yeah, it has been a little while since Pew Pew has said anything in chat. Looks like they are still here. Basically, yeah, the back and forth insanity check. I have my thoughts, but I'm missing something. I mean, you might be. You might not be. No telling. You know? Don't know. I wonder if I should make the background on this black and the text in white so that it's a little easier on the eyes. I can't change this part. They don't have a dark mode for this. What GPU were all putting in that last build? It was the Asus Prime 9060 XT 16 gig. BC Murray, what's up? I avoid dark mode because it's so painful when you switch over to something white. I mean, yeah, but I just don't like flashbanging, throwing a flashbang at chat every time I go over to the Matchmaker spreadsheet. PC Matchmaker spreadsheet. But what's up? How's it going? I feel like Google should have that as an option. They have it for their browser. Why not have it for their forms? Not forms. For Google Sheets. Corporate lighting is just brutal for the eyes. Yeah. There might be an extension. I know there's extensions for themes for the browser. I don't know if there's one for. Let me see. I'm just gonna do a quick Google search. Browser extensions. And apparently system settings can maybe affect that. I'll look at that for next time. Dark Reader works on Sheets. Okay. That would also mean that I would have to potentially go back through all of this and recolor code everything to look right on dark mode. So we'll see. That's something I can do off stream for sure. Is Newer a play on Newer? Newer is a brand of lighting and different gear for cameras, things like that. It's all videography and photography gear. I got like 4 of these shirts when I worked the Newer booth at NAB in April. Or late May, whenever that was. It should already go to white text when dark mode is enabled. The highlight will need to change. Yeah, that's what I mean. The highlights are what I'll have to go through and rework. I mean, just selecting all and changing the color of the text is no big deal. But yeah. Anyway, you guys have a good one. All right, you got it. FGN, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. How does it perform in the streets? Well, I guess Pew Pew is just lurking now. So we're probably going to, I don't know, wait a little bit. What did I walk into? Says CFG 338. I'm waiting on someone to get back to me that is waiting for why? They were waiting to get help. They were on the list to get help for the PC matchmaking thing. Special Joey, what's up? What the Halionte is up, Braythorn? Just waiting for someone to oh wait, what happened in chat? Oh yeah, no, they're talking about dark mode on the streets and in Google Sheets. That's what it is. Any thoughts on Splave entering the SI market? Yeah, I have a whole YouTube short about it. Trent and Ralph. I got to check them out at CES back in January, and it's looking pretty rad. It was looking pretty rad back then. We're going to be getting a system from... I don't know if I told this story. So, it's a funny thing that Alan he's a cool dude. We immediately hit it off. The first time I met him, He's just such a chill guy. Just a huge teddy bear kind of guy, you know. And that was when I went to their suite at CES 2025 back in January. And so I covered them. I covered the new Ice Giant AIOs, thermal siphon, kind of quite, you know, no moving parts, that kind of stuff. But I specifically also have a YouTube short and Instagram reel dedicated to covering Splave PC, and as an upcoming thing. They were already kind of doing it, but they had a kind of a big major launch recently. So, he reached out to me after the fact and was like, "Hey, we want to send you one for review and all that." And I was like, "Awesome." And he was like, "And also, I want to drop by, you know, and maybe we'll do something on stream together or something like that." I was like, "Oh no, I can't do that." And he was like, "Oh man, I like to just drop in on," and I'm not kidding you. I was like, you know, I was like super like, "Oh, that's nice," but he was like, "I like to drop in on content creators that I like," and I was like, "Damn man, you gotta make me feel bad about it like that." Splave, he's a world record holding, like, he has probably the most accolades currently as an overclocker. He's got like all the most number of records. So that's a big deal. But also, that was just all I knew about him before. Once I got to know him, I was like, "Yo, this dude's cool." Like, we clicked like right away. But this room looks pretty big. It is not. This is a wide-angle lens. I am nearly touching it right now. This is a full-frame sensor and a 20mm prime lens. So a very wide shot. This room, if I hold out my arms, you can fit like 2.5 of me in here. That's it. It's a small room, and this is my studio in my house. And I was like, I don't have the kind of room for two people who work in the same space. Like especially as gigantic as this dude is. He's like 9 feet tall, long arm freak of nature, this guy. In the good way, for him, sure, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to call him a freak of nature. That's what I always say about people who are tall. Anyway, but yeah, like, so he was like, "Okay, I have a buddy who has a studio space in Austin. Maybe we could like meet up there." I'm like, "Yo, that's cool. That's a couple hours from me. I could do that." But it felt good to know that like I'm not a huge content creator. Matter of fact, V4V is asking, "When are you going to get 100K subs, you reckon?" I don't know. If I could just predict that. I mean, once I actually am able to get the Unicorns series for me off the ground, pre-built, rebuilt, it's probably going to come pretty quickly. That's one of those, the idea is kind of too good to fail things for me. I mean, hell, that's going to be, some of those episodes are going to be sponsored by Linus Tech Tips. And they're going to, they might even work with me on a couple of the later episodes in, well, I'll explain that stuff. In episode 1, I'll explain what phase 2 is all about. So that's huge. That's a huge deal. And they like to talk about those things like on the WAN show and stuff and all of that. Because that's free. That's gonna, for free for them. It sends people to a video that they sponsored, so people see the sponsored ad. It's like, of course, yeah. It's also evergreen content that's going to capture more than just the audience I already have. It's just a quick videos on how to upgrade this, how to upgrade that. And it's going to be very clear that this is a series that can teach you very easily how to upgrade things in your PC. Kind of catered to pre-built buyers and understanding the way to address someone who is very new to this stuff, because that's how I've been my whole life. My whole life has been about learning stuff and then turning around and figuring out how to explain those things in a way that people who don't know those things, like I used to not know them, will easily understand. Anyway, so about that time is when I should hit 100K or more, or whatever. Yeah, me and my buddy low-key had a fight about what kind of character we thought he was. Oh, no. Think about the nicest person you know. He is nicer than that. I kid you not. CFG says +1 sub. Thank you. Gonna watch your most popular video. Why not? Hold on. I'd rather you watch the one that's the second most popular video. My most popular video, pretty old at this point, and it's all negative. I don't like that one. I wish it hadn't popped off. But it's good that it did because it kept a lot of people from buying from that SI. A lot of people. Thousands and thousands of people, apparently. Because, I mean, it's like 200, I don't know how many, 100,000, hundreds of thousands of views that has. After creating that with Linus, though, it would be only 100% profit for you if you can make it happen. 2.2 million views in 3 days ain't nothing to sneeze at. I mean, yeah. Splaven is an example of a gentle giant, 100%. Also, he always has an expression like he knows a joke that no one else knows. Those are the fun people to be around. That's a good collaboration. Should wrangle a lot of their fan base. I'm looking forward to the new content. Thank you. Yeah, my second most popular video is how to set up your new gaming PC. And it's one of my favorite videos I've ever made. Because I had one that's an old version of that. This one's way better. Like, we put a lot more work into it. And it just came out so good. Oops, I'm back. Is stream ending? Yeah, pretty much. I'm already 21 minutes over time. And I'll tell you what, though. I mean, you stay on the list, Pew Pew. You do stay on the list. So you keep your place. Just come back on. We do these Tuesdays and Thursdays. Come back. I'm going to help you out. One-on-one for free. But yeah, I was calling out for you for like 15 minutes earlier. The thing is, guys, if you get on the list and you have to leave, I understand. That's totally fine. But please let me know so I'm not sitting around calling out for you for a long time. Question, you tell people to disable fast startup? That's been an interesting bug. I don't, but I do it myself. So maybe? I think that most SIs disable fast startup for assistance in troubleshooting. Like remote troubleshooting. There I go. I say I'm at any stream. And of course, people are leaving, which I totally understand. I hope you guys like Sekiro because we're probably going to raid Emmett, who is playing Sekiro, which is the one where shadows die more than once or something. It's a frustrating game, and we love watching Emmett get frustrated. It's wholesome. It's good for the soul. He's been streaming for almost 5 hours, though, so it might not last very long, but yeah. All right, we'll see you on Tuesday, Pew Pew. Awesome. And, you know, hanging out, the more you hang out, the more comfortable you're going to be with PCs, so that's never a bad thing. I don't know, my SI starts up like an old Steam engine, 700X3, 700XTX build. 7000 series Ryzen, not the fastest on startups. Generally, once the memory has been trained, it's usually fine, but, you know. Sarge Marine, thank you for hanging out, bud. I'm glad to have you here. Ah, yes, causes memory leaks if you don't, but I'm not on all systems. It's frustrating. Hey, what are you gonna do? Yeah, there you go. Bergie5 knows the Bray Raid emote. That's my favorite one. Drop a few of those. Sarge Marine, thank you for the Prime sub. Hold up, let me do that right. Sarge Marine, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome back to the Swarm. Thank you. You're right on time to join the raid, which you know always makes me happy. We're going to go visit my friend Emmett. Great dude. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with him again at TwitchCon this year. If I get to go. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been fun. And I'll see you guys on Sunday for another gaming stream, continuing Tears of the Kingdom. More sages and more fun things. I am trying to farm for stuff. Don't be surprised if I got another tower or something. I'm just trying to make it to where the gameplay is smoother. But I'll catch y'all on the next one. Until then, take care.
Let's go, nerds.